Are you listening? Damn.
Welcome to the AFC North Talk. I am here. I am back. Shout out to the co-host that felt before I was not here. I will say this before we get started. Thank y'all. A lot of you guys reached out to me to make sure to see how I was feeling. I'm here. I'm still not 100, but you know what? I told the guys that I was gonna make it today because we were taking a break after this show. Not today. Tony was like, "Oh, you're here because you're taking your victory lap." No, I'm not. Because
I was just all I asked him was, "Look, we got to make sure we do our stretches before this episode."
He was like, "So you got extra energy?" It's like, no, it's not that.
I don't know, man. I've seen how Raven fans been acting towards Bengal fans all year. I feel like, that loss of the Super Bowl being so heartbreaking as it was, a 4th and 1. It came down to a 4th and 1. I feel like that gave Raven fans energy, especially since Eli Apple got cooked too, like for 2 touchdowns apiece.
Good old Eli.
Was he the Odell touchdown too? Who was the Odell touchdown?
He was.
I think it was Hilton. Yeah, it was Hilton.
I was like, okay, that shouldn't have happened though. I don't know how Mike Hilton ended up 1-on-1 with Odell. That's not a good situation.
He was in the slot. Odell.
Odell. They were. It was an interesting thing in the game. Early on, they were trying to put Odell in the slot more than they usually do, and it was getting matched up with Hilton, and it was.
Imagine just putting Odell in the slot, just figuring out ways to get him the ball. It's a fantastic concept that Sean McVay is only capable of, right? No, we had him at the X doing decoy stuff all year, man. Like that's all we had him do, running Anthony Schwartz routes.
Yeah, I thought the Browns fans told me that he was done.
Browns Twitter in the first quarter of that Super Bowl just was as I'm sure for Quincy as a Browns fan, it was a nightmare to have to scroll through all that stuff. But I
wanted to burn. I wanted to burn too, Tony. I was like the Joker burning that money flame. I was like, yeah, we gave them away for free because you know why Browns Twitter deserves to burn. You know who told you that the Browns were better without Odell Beckham? You know who told you that that Odell Beckham has nothing to offer anymore to any team? Browns Twitter. That's who told you that.
The tweet you put in our private chat where it said something like the Bengals are about to lose the Super Bowl because Baker Mayfield can't throw a slant route.
And that's why I was saying, look, the Bengals' worst nightmare is still Baker Mayfield. He gonna come back around and beat the Bengals no matter what.
All right.
It was 5D chess by Baker Mayfield to suck that much this year to force Odell out.
Yeah, tell you what.
We have a couple super chats, and then we're gonna start doing our takes of this game. Nova Stone here says Tom Brady will have won that game. Next TV, nope.
Didn't Tom Brady lose to the Rams too? Did that not happen?
Yeah. Not in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
No, not in the Super Bowl.
Not even in the Super Bowl, right? Oh,
no.
Okay. All right. In the first round, right?
Yeah.
I'm just checking. I'm just.
I see. Yeah, this team. True.
That is true.
That's true.
And the Ravens.
He wouldn't have lost in the Super Bowl, just in the first round. Just in the first round to that Rams team. Right. Okay.
Yeah. And the Rams in that game tried to give them the opportunity to win. They were begging them. They were like, here's another fumble. And you tried to catch up, right? Joe Burrow injured. Bengals fan, he not luck. Don't need O-line.
Literally not said by any Bengals fans. I think
Bengals fans have been mock drafting about 7 offensive linemen to the Steelers to the Bengals in every draft. Every mock draft I've seen has been Bengals taking as many O linemen as possible.
Yeah.
Who's that tackle that everybody wants from you and I? Are they in the Pennick sweepstakes now?
Penning,
yeah. We got to trade up to get Pennick. He's not a tackle though.
I like that kid from Central Michigan.
Nemo here says an Apple they keeps the ring away.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Poor Eli Apple, man. He got roasted on Twitter.
He really did it though. He only gave up 19 yards. Like if anyone got roasted, it was Ramsey. Like he gave up 160 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, man. Winners write the victory stories, though. Like it's just
I think the problem
get cooked in the end zone.
If you got cooked though, even if you got your ring, you still got cooked.
Yeah. Well, the problem with Eli is Eli does like to just talk a little bit on Twitter. So when you get exposed, like
I mean
when you open yourself like that. Yeah, when you open yourself like if he wasn't on Twitter talking at all for the good or bad, then people would be like, oh yeah, he got
I knew that was coming. I was just like, bro, you're more worried about this whole Twitter stuff than these actual games, and there's still games going. So I just knew that they were gonna pile on him as soon as a touchdown was caught on him. I knew it was just gonna go crazy.
Yeah, and when you this is the Baker Mayfield problem, right? When you talk trash and people don't think you that good. Oh, wait till you have a bad game, dog. They gonna tell you about yourself.
That's the thing. Is like it just seemed like there are so many players in the NFL who do not like Eli Apple, right? Former teammates of his who do not like him, and so the moment after he started chirping last week, and then this happened, it's like floodgates open.
But for me, I think it is from an aspect of I think Eli Apple got poured on for so many years. When he finally was like in a position where he was playing decent or better than expectations, he tried to like fly on it and it just backfired. I think that's what it was. For years, everybody has been clowning Eli Apple. Let's just keep it 100. Like people have been slandering him for years. So once he finally did something, I think it was like over the top because for years he was just getting dragged on like Twitter. But we knew that was going.
My question for Eli Apple is, why in the world did you think it was a good idea to antagonize the city of New Orleans? Like, if there's one city I'm not about to antagonize when I'm an NFL player, I got to go to these cities. I'm not about to do that to New Orleans. I love New Orleans, by the way. If anybody here is from New Orleans and represents New Orleans, I love New Orleans. New Orleans is a beautiful city. Mardi Gras is awesome. You guys are always hospitable and nice. I would never say anything bad about, how they be in New Orleans. Why was Eli Apple out there? That was just reckless.
And Chase is from New Orleans. I'm like, all right.
You know how many dudes on that team from LSU?
I forgot about that. Let's read you. Danielle Johnson here says, Ace, what are your thoughts on Perion Winfrey?
I'm not trying to stun or anything. I don't even know who that is right now. Like, I'm still getting into draft mode. I'm assuming that that's a prospect. I'm assuming that he's a lineman. If I'm just thinking, but I don't know.
He's a D tackle. He's a D tackle.
He's a DT.
I don't like. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying I have not gotten into it yet. I'm definitely going to start probably next week deep diving into some of these prospects.
I'll just say this. I don't like that more people are knowing who Perion Winfrey is. That's not good for me. I like Perion Winfrey. I think he's a top 15 player in this draft. It's probably going to slide to the second round. But
King 95 says that Bengals pack got me wheezing, and then the emojis there. Joshua Matter here says Sonny showing up late just like the refs in the Super Bowl.
Shout out to the refs, by the way. Shout out to the refs who just could not. It's like they were just they told us to let him play, but like we got to get one flag in here, guys. I loved it.
They let him play all game. Know what that Logan Wilson flag was? That Logan Wilson flag was, ain't no way you stop Cooper Kupp on no fourth down. No penalty. I refuse to believe that you did that clean. I'm throwing the flag. That's one of them superstar flags that Cooper Kupp got right there because Logan did nothing wrong. That was a textbook play right there. It was just they were in disbelief that Logan Wilson could do such a thing.
So let me say this. I think it was a flag on a normal call game, meaning on a game that is being called as is, but not
tight.
Yeah, and a game, not even if it is tight, but even if a game that is, because it was either illegal contact, you could have called it illegal contact. There was somewhat of a hold, but in this game, how the game was being called, it should have been.
Jalen Ramsey.
When I said tight, I'm like if they're calling everything, like if it's just you touch somebody, it's a flag. Like
you could tell they were letting him play because that whole scuffle on the sideline after Donald pushed Burrow out, and then they have a whole scuffle where guys,
Quentin Spain's all up in there.
Yeah, I mean, okay, there's no flag there. Like that's when you knew, like, okay, they're just gonna let him play today. And But then the refs couldn't help themselves. I mean, they just could not. This is Super Bowl, guys. The biggest stage in the world for them.
They saw Cooper
You're gonna
Cup.
go a whole game without throwing a BS flag? Are you kidding me? This is NFL.
They saw Cooper Cup come off that release, and it was like, ain't no way no dude with 53 done stopped him clean. Like,
No way.
like
I gotta get my shine on TV. Let's
ain't
go.
no way. We don't know that dude. We know Cooper. I know Cooper.
Yeah. We know Coop. Yeah. Eric here says C.J. Stroud to Garrett Wilson will be the Browns version of Burrow.
This is great.
Stop. Stop. There is nothing that makes idiots of more men than outliers. I'm confident. There is nothing that's going to make people do more. Nothing justifies dumb decision making like the success of an outlier. Like you think that CJ, like here's what you were saying. I think that CJ Stroud is going to be able to carry a Browns team to the Super Bowl in his second year, something that not a lot of quarterbacks have done, right? I think CJ Stroud's going to be ready to play at a top 5 level. By the way, much younger than Joe Burrow when he came out at age, 21 or 22 or however old he will be.
Yeah.
And then I think Garrett Wilson is going to have 1,400 receiving yards. Like, huh?
Well, Garrett Wilson's a nice player, but let's just start there. Garrett Wilson is not Jamar Chase, and he's not going to win in the same ways Jamar Chase does, right? I mean, it's not, Garrett Wilson is going to be a fun player, especially after the catch.
Jamar Chase was the number one wide receiver in a draft class that had a wide receiver who won the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah.
Garrett Wilson ain't even the number one wide receiver in this class. This class is good, but like, ain't no damn Heisman Trophy winner in this class. Like, just stop. Just stop comparing things to Burrow and Chase. That's not going to happen often enough for you to duplicate it. It's just not realistic. You are setting yourself up to be massively Garrett Wilson going to come in the league, and if he gets drafted by the Browns and has 1,000 yards, people are going to be disappointed because they think he's going to be Jamar Chase. And that's ridiculous. The kid's not Jamar Chase. That's okay that he's not Jamar Chase. Because there's like one Jamar Chase. He's on the Bengals. He wears number 1. Like, no, dog. This is the most impressive rookie year from a wide receiver we have seen since Randy Moss. That's not going to happen next year. Like,
yeah, well, that's right. This is going to happen 2 years from now. See?
Yeah. I can't get me off this planet.
Atomic here says all things are balanced as they should be.
There we go. A little Avengers reference. Thanos.
Diddy here says, glad to see you, Sonny. Glad you're better. Thank you, man. No, it's still Sonny. Should Ravens hire?
No, nothing sure.
You know what? I love Weddle. If he wants to be an assistant coach or whatever, I always thought he could be an assistant coach. I'm happy for Weddle.
Weddle was good in this game too, and he did. What did he tear? He tore something in his shoulder.
He tore his bicep, his pec.
No,
his pec. Yeah, it's pictures of it.
I think in the second quarter they said something like that.
And he was like using the other shoulder to lean in for tackles after that. It was weird.
Imagine not playing football all year, coming back, tearing your pec, and then still playing. That is some. By the way, you want to know there's some amazing stuff about Eric Weddle, man. You know Eric Weddle once put the clamps on Calvin Johnson in college as a corner at Utah. Put the clamps, like held Calvin Johnson in a bowl game like 27 yards on like 5 targets, something like that.
I cannot see that either because
and for whatever reason, people looked at Eric Weddle was like, that's a safety. See, we be out here being prejudiced sometimes, man.
You know what Weddle is? Weddle's smart.
No, yeah, he's a very instinctive player.
Yeah, he's very smart. He's also a great athlete, though. Like, I think people like underrate that about Eric Weddle.
His ability to come off the couch and just go right into a playoff team and just play 4 good games in the playoffs. Like,
that's insane athlete. Like, I think he's a very underrated athlete for his era. I think people have slept on that because he played safety.
Yeah,
he could have been a corner.
Sonny, why Lamar Jackson not being paid? Tom Brady release. Why not Ravens? You're saying Tampa Bay. Tom Brady to the Ravens. Tom Brady is retired. It's his feet.
Wait.
With Lamar. Go ahead, Quincy.
Tom Brady in a Greg Roman system.
I love it.
That would be something to watch. To be
He's
honest,
gonna be bored by like the second week of camp. He's like, I know the 5 routes that you're running. Like
Tom Brady comes to any team and he's running whatever system he wants to run.
Yeah, he just installs it. So we'll probably talk more about the Lamar stuff when we come back in March. But this contract thing with him, the last report I read is like there's the expectation now that they may not get a deal done this year. That this may spill over into 2022.
Yeah,
it is 2020. What am I talking about? 2023. Sorry, it is 2022.
I remember having a quarterback not getting a year in his last year, rookie year, and I know what happened. Hopefully, we can repeat history here.
We're seeing something weird too, when it comes to these like quarterback trends. These because both Lamar and Baker. I mean, it's been a while since we had a quarterback get into their 5th year without a extension.
Yeah, without an extension.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
the last one was Cousins, right?
Well, Cousins didn't get a 5th year. He was a 3rd-round pick.
Yeah,
he just got franchised to oblivion. But I don't know when's the last time we had a guy get his 5th-year option, like both Lamar and Baker have gotten, and not get an extension pretty much immediately, right? Like,
someone in chat looked that up because that's really interesting, and I would like to know.
If Derek Carr is asking for $35 million, I gotta know what Lamar
40.
Jackson is gonna get.
40 for Lamar, and the Ravens are balking at it. Is the rumor? But I mean, who knows?
Balking at what? That's kind of disrespectful.
40?
That was the rumor. Again, I'm not a reporter.
Is 35.
I read tweets for a living.
I would feel like 40 for Lamar is a discount. Like
I think
if
so too.
Derek Carr is 35.
Yeah. Again,
I mean, Kyler out there asking for like 50.
Kyler,
he ain't done nothing.
Kyler.
I didn't ask for this, guys. I didn't ask for this. I just deleted all my social media. I didn't ask for this.
Kyler Murray. I just saw a new side of Kyler Murray. Anyway, one thing again, I would say this: last time the Ravens had a quarterback in the rookie year and not get it done, he went to his last year of the contract.
Who was that?
Happened to the Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco.
Man, he got his pay.
Well, if
He was
Lamar
the
wants to have
first-round
a
pick.
Joe Flacco-like career, I'm totally for that. I'll even give him a Super Bowl win. I'll give him one win, and then
I'm just telling you.
drops off the face of the earth.
yeah, exactly. The rest
So
of history.
basically, what Sonny is telling us is that the Ravens are going to the Super Bowl next year.
Or the Browns. Or the Browns. You know, we beat them to the punch because we know for sure we're not extending Baker right now, right?
Exactly.
Like y'all might extend Lamar, like you know what I mean. But ain't no way in hell Baker getting an extension before the start of next season.
All I'm saying is
That's
the last time that happened to the Ravens, that the rookie quarterback did not get a year in the last year, which I guess technically will not be this year, will be following year. But yeah. Anyway. Tom Brady never needed rest to win a game, unlike Joe Burrow. Look, Tom
Brady needed rest to start his entire
That's a troll.
time.
Move on.
Yeah.
That's a troll. That's
This
called
is a
bait,
big
and we
troll.
got a long show ahead. No.
Yeah, I agree.
Come on now, it's
Here
Tom
says,
Brady.
Joe's knee injury had a big effect last quarter. I mean,
Is it the
Yeah,
new labrum?
I don't know about that.
I mean, it probably
No
has some
labrum.
effect. Tom Brady beats Ram in first Super Bowl. Joe Burrow loses. Oh my God, Noah Stone's on fire today. Opposite.
Well, he's a Raven and Tom Brady fan.
I'm
Like
not-
he is
I'm
on
not
cloud nine
understanding.
right now.
Well, let him get his own.
It doesn't make sense because he literally lost to the same exact team. I could see if it was different teams, but he literally
agree
lost to
with
the
Ace.
same Rams.
It don't matter. He just trying to justify his
I mean,
hatred
if I
right
could
now.
get
You know?
compared to Tom Brady, that means that my quarterback's pretty good. So that's kind of a compliment, honestly.
I know, right? When we gonna start comparing like Mason Rudolph and Baker Mayfield to Tom Brady?
Gister here says Lamar 1-3 in the playoffs. Joe 3-1. So keep talking, Ravens fans in chat. I mean, he ain't wrong. Diddy here says Noah Stone, Tom Brady has
That's
a
a whole
whole rule
No, he had a whole rule removed because of him.
because of him. Yeah.
Yeah, the tuck rule got removed because we're like, all right. Because, by the way, I don't know if you guys noticed this after that as a small derail, but they actually started calling tucks. I don't know if you guys had any tucks called for your teams, but the Steelers actually had a tuck rule called
I don't
for them
remember.
in a football game after the tuck rule. Right? They just started like they made up this rule because of replay, and then they're like, well, now that we've made this rule up and we're actually calling it, you know, in the playoffs, I guess we should just call it regularly now. And the Steelers actually had it called. I think it was Tommy Maddox.
Nothing more like fun to me is then seeing like Steeler fans complain about like fortunate cause the Patriots have, and then like me and Ace got to look at them like, be quiet, y'all both get fortune.
What do you mean? No, when Al Riveron was the head official, right? When it went to booth review, Mike Tomlin never won a booth review. That's a fact.
Unless you were playing the Bengals or the Browns.
No. Mike Tomlin went.
Well, I mean, like
5 years
with the Browns, it
without
never
winning
came to a booth
challenge.
review. Yeah, like with the Browns, it
Without
never
winning
came
challenge.
to a booth.
He never won a
review
challenge.
when it came to Mike Tomlin, but I don't know what happened with.
I'm
the
not saying
Bengals.
there's a conspiracy there, but it's just interesting. It's just real interesting.
Professor Chaos here says,
We're gonna get you on Sports Center.
I'm glad to see Sunny okay. Well, thank you, man. Also, does OBJ play next year or retires? I don't think he retires.
I don't think he plays either, though. He tore his ACL.
Yeah, I was gonna say. The problem is,
I think he retires.
You think he retires?
Yeah, Aaron Donald's about to retire. Well, Aaron Donald might retire, right? Like, and they're talking about Sean McVay retiring. You think he gonna want to?
All those people.
You think he gonna want to rehab off that ACL just to? I'm all for it. If Aaron Donald wants to retire, hey, buddy, dog, like
I'm with that. I just think that it's crazy that Sean McVay, being one of the youngest coaches in the NFL, is like, yeah, I'm gonna retire and do a Monday Night Football gig. That is
looking for this
because he's trying to get
the money's too good.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Sean McVay trying to get that money, so without doing all the work, and then he gonna swing back around, and then somebody's gonna pay him to like run the franchise in 3 years to get him out of retirement. It's gonna be the. Well, I mean, we can't really talk about him no more, but we know who ran that racket before.
This is happening to officiating too, right? I mean, like TV gigs are paying more for officials than the actual National Football League. So, like the big name officials are leaving the sport because their TV contracts pay them more than the NFL will. And with McVay, you look at Romo making $17 million a year now from CBS. Like, what Brinks truck is Amazon going to back into Sean McVay's house if he's like, yeah, I'll retire to come work for you, right? I mean, again, right now he's probably working, 18, 20-hour days? He ain't doing that at Amazon. So
yeah. And like, let's be real. If Aaron Donald retire, I will retire too. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not about to be responsible for what this roster does with just Matt Stafford. And like,
well, I don't think they're in as bad a cap shape as people make them out to be. Because
I don't think they're gonna be in a bad cap shape. They're gonna be like a second round exit team, but like, they're not gonna be at the peak that they were this year.
I mean,
where they had it. Like, this was the year that they needed to win it. Right. Yeah. Because like the year after, it would have been really tough for them because they wouldn't have been able to keep all those guys that they had on these like 1 year deals or they traded for. And they have no first round picks for like the next decade.
Well, they haven't made a first round pick since I think Jared Goff.
Yeah, they learned their lesson.
Yeah. No, the one interesting thing about the Rams. So we talked about this on the last show, right? We talked about what would be the Super Bowl odds for next year. Well, they're out now. And I'm sure people have seen the Bengals. The Bengals are not. We talked last year.
They were like
maybe they're second,
7?
maybe they're third. No, they're like sixth. But the Rams are the number one
in the NFC.
In the NFC because, and this is Brady's retired now. Rodgers is likely on the move and likely not to an NFC team.
Who is the most overhyped team every year?
Are we saying the Super Bowl odds for next year?
The Baltimore Ravens?
Yeah.
I thought we were fourth.
The Dallas Cowboys.
No, you're sixth right now. You're sixth.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that.
The Dallas Cowboys. They're second in the NFC. I'm like, this team never does
well,
shit.
But who are you going to put? Hold on, right now, if you were setting the odds, who would you say has the second best odds right now to win the Super Bowl in the NFC?
Well, as
we gotta wait and see who makes.
As teams are constructed.
Yeah, but he's leaving, right?
Do we know that? I mean,
well, honestly, there's another domino that we have to wait to fall in the NFC. We really got to see who trades for Jimmy Garoppolo.
I was gonna say also San Francisco beat Dallas.
Well, you can make an argument for San Francisco too, but then it's like, are you trusting Trey Lance in his his first?
And I understand not trusting Arizona, but I don't
trust I think
the Cowboys either.
We learned our lesson. No, I know, but I just who else are you gonna put there? I just think it's like there's just this void of talent in the NFC all of a sudden.
Okay, even if they're second, I think the Cowboys are like seventh.
No, I know, the Cowboys should be lower,
They should be like 12th.
They're public.
Who is in the NFC? Any good teams?
Well, there's the Rams, and
there's
then
the Rams.
The Seahawks, and the Niners, and the Cardinals.
This is really killing my Russ trade vibes because like ain't no way they're gonna trade Russ when it's that wide open, right? Like,
It's well, the whole thing is Russ wants out.
Are the Minnesota Vikings in the top 5 in there, and they sucked last year?
Look, I believe in Minnesota more than I believe in the Cowboys. Thank you, Q.
Come on now. You can't tell me you believe in Kirk Cousins more than the Cowboys.
Cowboys.
That's really
nah.
I didn't know you hated the Cowboys that much.
Especially if Green Bay, if with the assumption that Tony has here, the Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers are parting ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now that division essentially is. Well, my whole thing is that division becomes for the Vikings what the Cowboys have in their division. Right? They had the thing with the Cowboys is the division is so bad, we're gonna make the playoffs.
That's why mine is different from CBS. From CBS a few days ago, they had the Bengals 4th. They had Kansas City, Buffalo, the Rams, and then the Bengals 4th. But I think it's changed, I guess, over the last couple of days.
It's different at different places too. Yeah, you can get it differently at different places. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I was looking at those odds after that game.
You gonna tell me you gonna entrust Kirk Cousins, who has a primetime record comparable to Andy Dalton?
You're right, Q. But
more than the Cowboys. Like I understand.
Let's not forget about the Bears in that division. Let's not forget about the Bears in that division. They rid themselves of.
The NFC is tough though, bro. The NFC is tough to predict who's coming out of there.
Oh, to predict, yeah. This is what I'm
because all the quarterbacks are wild cards here. Either they're like old, they're Kirk Cousins, or they're rookies.
I hated that the Super Bowl was played for home field. We should just move the Super Bowl to Dallas. They ain't making the Super Bowl anytime soon. That's the Super Bowl location.
If it's gonna follow a trend. Arizona's going to the Super Bowl.
Arizona's going to the Super Bowl next year.
Ain't no damn way, dog.
Well, the trend lasted for about 2 years, and then we're good.
Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Unless Cliff Kingsbury gets fired off this earth, no, dog. They stuck with them first round exits if they get to the first round, because that's assuming they don't choke at the end of the year, like Cliff Kingsbury is known to. I mean,
Diddy here says apparently Eric B. and Patty got into it at halftime.
I did hear that they might move on from him as offensive coordinator.
Yep, heard that.
Really?
So wild.
Yep, heard that.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't know that. Thank you for that, Diddy. Ira here says the D carry us once again, and our O line failed.
I don't know if it's fair to say that they failed. I mean, like they kind of held up as long as like. I didn't expect the Bengals offensive line to hold up as well as they did in the first half when they started pouring. Like, yeah, when it started pouring. But I'm like, do you think the Titans had a better defensive line than the Rams? I don't, right? I think the Rams do. And the fact that you didn't give up 10 sacks when that could have easily happened with Aaron Donald and Von Miller. Von Miller was not like old Von Miller like he's been all year. That was Denver Von Miller. In the Super Bowl.
The Bengals, the ESPN charted the Bengals with something like an 88% pass rush win rate, which is just absurd. Think about that. 88%. Seems fake.
Says, everyone is trashing Bengals O-line. Did everyone see Tampa, San Francisco, Arizona versus the Rams? They were
way worse.
Way worse.
I'll get into that when I give my talk about the game. When you really examine it, though, I'll talk about it when I get into it about the offensive line. I don't want to give away too much right now.
Tom Brooks here says no under center, no ability to run, sprain MCL. You guys, Gibster here says, you guys see Jamar burning Ramsey?
Yes,
that play though, but that play I saw. So Seth Galina did a great breakdown of that play. I think Ramsey, look, not that he intentionally got burned, but him playing press in that moment changed the entire play because he basically said to Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, I dare you in 4th and 1 to try and go deep on me, right? Like, you're going to put the game in the hands right here of a 50-50 ball between me and Chase. Like, I hope you do. Let's do it, right? And it kind of changed Burrow's read to the other side of the field where the Rams had the numbers advantage. And you see Burrow, again, people act like that play, like Burrow never had a chance to get the ball away. Burrow only had one read, obviously, because Donald was on him so quick. But he could have, if the first read's there, that's a first down. It just wasn't there.
I just was surprised there was not a short, hot read.
There was. Well, I don't want to put too much out there, but it wasn't a read that was supposed to be from Chase. It was someone else that was supposed to do something a little bit different on that play. And he was staring him down, but he didn't do what he was supposed to do.
Gotcha.
Another interesting thing about that play, because you think about the Bengals and who they were coming in, right? Like they are a kind of team that would throw a 50-50 ball against Jalen. Like going into this game, the Bengals are the kind of team that they won games because they weren't afraid. Like 50-50 ball, Jamar Chase versus Jalen Ramsey to win the game. Yeah, of course we're going to take that. We're the friggin' Bengals. That's what we do, right? And the fact that they didn't do that in this one, I think what was interesting, if you watch the Inside the NFL, they did the behind the scenes look. When Burrow goes to the sideline, he immediately grabs the clipboard and says, "Did I have the go route?" And the coach who's standing next to him kind of looks at him like, "What are you talking about? Did you have the go? Like you thought you were gonna just throw 1-on-1 to Chase?" And he like clicked it like Burrow knew immediately. I screwed that up. I should have just gone 1-on-1. I thought that was a really interesting part of the game. Yeah.
Bro Raven Smith here says, what we gotta trade for you. Everything.
I would say he's untouchable at this point.
Yeah. And then here Perry said,
fans do be like, we'll give you Maurice. They be like, yo, we'll give you James Prochet, a 4th round pick for Myles Garrett. Like, shut up, Raven fans. What do you think?
Why you don't want to take that, Q? Perry here says Ravens 2-0 Super Bowls, Bengals 0-3. So keep talking, Bengals fans in the chat. Ben,
I love that the trash talk has shifted from playoff wins to Super Bowls now. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Hey, look, the Browns are 500 in the Super Bowl, technically. You know what I mean? Like, never won, never lost.
Well,
you know what I mean?
That's actually not.
I think percentage-wise it's 0 still.
Yeah,
But
I think it's still 0. Yeah.
Joe Burrow's passer rating was over 100, and Matt's was under 90 at 89. Joe Burrow's performer better in his second year in the Super Bowl than Hall of Famer like Big Ben and Brady did. His average release.
Okay.
Different.
Was not
I
Hall
get
of
it,
Fame,
Ben.
man.
I get it, Ben, but it was a different era.
Where Stafford was between 3.
Also, don't use passer rating. It's like the worst.
Yeah,
the
passer
worst way to
rating.
judge. Yeah, don't use passer rating.
You gotta use it.
Literally any other. I don't even like QBR that much, but like you QBR.
Well, QBR wasn't around in like 2006. Like they weren't charting it.
Did they back chart it though?
I think they back charted.
They back chart some guys. They don't back chart other guys.
Okay.
They back chart some games. They don't. It's very inconsistent. I've been pouring through QBR like the last 2
Yeah, I know you've done exposés. Let's do an expose on this one.
What is Joe Burrow an upgrade from Baker Mayfield? Yes. I don't need to do a chart.
New Mexico guy says, now that football season's over, now getting ready for baseball in April. Go Amarillo Sod Poodles.
All right.
Is that a minor league team?
I have no idea. All I know is somebody told me, oh, baseball's on a lockout. And I was like, really? Oh, that's me. I haven't followed baseball in a minute.
It's bad because I used to play a ton of baseball. And let me tell you something. I have not been interested in watching Major League Baseball in like since I graduated, since I stopped playing baseball pretty much. Like, I don't know when the last time I was like, let me go catch a baseball game.
So Noah's still here. Tom Brady. I see TV. I want to say Tampa Bay.
Goodness.
Tom Brady won most of his Super Bowls with bad wide receivers. Joe Burrow had great wide receivers and still lost. No comparison. Tom Brady was 199th pick, not the first, and became the GOAT. Everybody slept. Okay.
Joe Burrow is not literally the greatest player in the history of the sport. Man,
no. Tony, here's why we're going to handle this. We're just going to slander Tom Brady until he gets tired of it. Tom Brady is the most overrated quarterback. He's not that good. He had no special skill sets. He's overrated. He was carried by great defenses and a great defensive mind his whole career. And the one time he won a ring without Bill Belichick, what did he have? A whole bunch of everybody on that Tampa Bay team and a weakened Chiefs team that didn't have any offensive linemen. So like, let's be real. He's the Kirk Cousins. He's Kirk Cousins with Super Bowl rings. Yeah, I said it.
There is a guy. I do follow a guy on Twitter who is obsessed with the idea that Tom Brady is not the greatest of all time. He is the luckiest of all time, and he has stats to bear it out.
I mean, that's kind of one and the same.
The one thing I will say,
he's just a lucky Kirk Cousins.
He's lucky, yeah. He's just lucky.
The only thing I will say here is, and I'm not trying to rehash the Sewell thing, Chase. We already talked about that, but what Tom Brady always had was great O-line. You're right. He never had really good wide receiver. I mean, he had Randy Moss for a little bit. Wes Welker, play really good for him.
A lot of people say he's a Hall of Famer, right? Danny Amendola, right? Like, not Danny Amendola, the other one.
Julian Edelman.
People try to tell me Julian Edelman's a Hall of Famer, right? You know what I mean? Gronk, he had Gronk. Remember that year he had Gronk and the murderer, who's pretty good at football. Like, he's had help. People act like he's had nothing his entire career.
Tom Brady actually did better without, because when you think about it, with Randy Moss, with the greatest offense of all time,
that man lost to Eli Manning.
That's right, exactly. But with all these crap offenses, with Troy Brown and
don't disrespect Troy Brown, greatest two-way player in NFL history,
who are one and done, Jabbar Gaffney and stuff like. He won Super Bowls with those teams.
Yeah.
Super Bowl champion Jabbar Gaffney.
Well done.
Super Bowl champ.
Yes, the flag cancels out. Ramsey got yanked, and it wasn't called. And the play before the Wilson flag could have been PI on the Bengals. This is just for the people who think Bengals were robbed. In my opinion, cancels out.
I'm not a guy that thinks that the Bengals were robbed, because you still had a point in that game to essentially still win it, right? Amongst all of those calls or whatever. But I think a lot of people are overlooking the fact before T. Higgins made that play that Ramsey was getting away with defensive pass interference and holding on him as well before that. And they weren't calling it. So I felt like because they were letting both sides play, yes, those equal out. But I don't think it's easy to just say you go to the end of the game and say that that's canceling out something from the third quarter, because Ramsey was doing it to T. Higgins before that as well.
I do think when it comes, I've seen a lot of like, where the Bengals robbed and all that. Like, look, I don't think either if they called it or they didn't call it.
They were bad calls. I'm not going to say that they were robbed, because that's not what ended up winning the Rams that game.
Yeah,
like,
I think the T. Higgins play was OPI or face mask, whatever you have to call it. I mean, it's something. It's definitely not nothing. And then I think the Logan Wilson was not a hold. But regardless, I think the third and fourth quarters of this game happened, right? And I think if both teams, regardless of what happens with the penalty situation, the third and fourth quarter are what decided the outcome of this game. And both teams had either won or lost, they would look back with regret at what happened in the third and fourth quarter and say, what the hell happened there?
Right.
Yeah.
Aquila here says, I'll be in booth during Bengals free agency and draft. Here's to be hoping for Armstead and Sheriff plus Zion Johnson and trade up for Penny/Raymond.
It's easy. The Bengals are just the top two free agents and then the top guard in the draft, and we're good to go.
Professor Chaos here says, hey, Q, if the Browns get Winfrey in the first, will that be an overdraft also? The win in Winfrey is capitalized.
Because all Winfrey does is win on one-on-ones. Look, it's not going to be popular on draft day. I acknowledge that. If they draft Winfrey in the first round at pick 13, nobody's going to like that pick. Nobody on draft day is going to get terrible. They're going to get killed for that pick. I think he's one of the top 15 players in this draft. So I think it's one of those situations to where, you can play the draft game and be right today and be wrong tomorrow, or you can be right today, or you can be wrong today or wrong tomorrow. I think you can get him in the second round if you're crafty. I'm on team trade back for the Cleveland Browns. I don't think anybody at 13 is really worth 13. I would love to get back into 20, pick up an extra second or third. We already got 2 thirds, so we could use that to leverage up, get that second, and maybe walk out of here with Christian Watson and Perion Winfrey. Think about it like that. Maybe you can sneak and get a Logan Hall in the third round, or maybe you can get Logan Hall in the second round, pair him with Perry. I think the where you want to be in this draft is not in the top 10. You want to be anywhere from like 20 to beyond that in the first round. That's where you want to be. 20 with multiple picks in day 2. That's where you want to be. That's where you want to be in this draft. This is like the 2013 draft. There's nothing really great for you at the top 10 of this draft, in my opinion. Like even Aiden Hutchinson, I'm not in love with him. But
those top tackles are good. I like those top tackles.
Yeah, the top tackles. Yeah, I'm not worried about tackles. The Browns don't have anything to worry about yet. But other than that, it's like, what you gonna really like mess around and take Malik Willis? Like it's just the difference of the difference of wide receiver prospect that's going to be available at 13, not that much different than what's going to be available at 25. And that's just where I'm at with this draft. It is a good year to be late in the draft with multiple picks. Remember, 2013, terrible draft, right? But Tyrann Mathieu in the third round in that draft because of other issues that he had in college.
Yeah,
that's true. Okay, QBR. So Ben here says QBR is a proprietary.
Yeah.
I don't know the formula. That being said, Brady has no touchdowns in that game, but Brady did worse against the Rams than we did anyway. But let me see those stats. But Brady behind
Put Brady behind our O-line.
Yeah.
By the way, everybody rags on QBR because they don't know the formula. We don't know the formula for any of these advanced stats that we use. Well, most of the advanced stats that we
Correct.
use, though. Like, we don't know how PFF really be grading these things. They don't give us a rubric. Like, they give us a rubric for the end result, but like not for how they get there or how they grade it. We don't know how catch percentage catch percentage is just a straight up stat, but like big time throw percentage. How do they chart that? Right? Like
turnover worthy play.
Turnover worthy play. How do they chart that? Is it if it hits a hand? So I mean, like at some point we just gotta take these stats at face value, right? Like
we have a couple more super chat, but before we
one stat doesn't say everything, but like
unless it proves a thought you already had, in which case, I mean, definitely go.
Dog, I've seen people use yards per attempt to justify Baker Mayfield's 2021, and I'm just like, how is that one stat?
Not a bad stat. It's not a bad stat. Yards per attempt is not a bad stat. It has
yards per attempt. Or completed air yards per attempt.
No. Yards per attempt. Yards per attempt is not a bad stat. Not a bad stat. It's not.
I don't know. I feel like you could get a pretty heavy yards per attempt number if you get yak yards.
It's not bad.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, you do need to control for yak yards.
That's why air yards.
Paying bills here? Sonny, you want to pay some bills?
Let's go pay some bills.
Let's pay some bills with our friends over at Manscaped. Exciting news. Across from our friends at Manscaped, they just launched their 4th generation performance package. This ultimate package includes the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right. The 4.0. Manscaped, the leaders in male grooming, have done it again to make your grooming game next level. Join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with the new Performance Package 4.0 by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping with the code AFC North Talk. That's AFC North Talk, all one word. The Performance Package 4.0 by Manscaped has arrived, and oh man, it was worth the wait. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, their Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your goodies. First off, the new Performance Package 4.0 includes that new Lawnmower 4.0. This trimmer is insane and, dare I say, the greatest ball trimmer ever. Yes, I said it. Their 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. You thought that was good? I want to take your grooming team to the next level. The Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker to chop your worst weeds up top in your nose and ear. The Weed Whacker is also waterproof and uses a 9,000 RPM motor-powered 360-degree rotary dual system blade. Seal the deal with Manscaped's liquid formulations. Their Crop Preserver ball deodorant for before leaving the house, and their Crop Reviver ball toner for a mid-game ball check. Trust me when I say, fellas, your balls will thank you. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts to their Performance Package 4.0, the Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. Bring your comfort and boxers to another level. You do all that, get all that for 20% off and free shipping. But again, you got to use our promo code AFC North Talk. AFC North Talk, all one word, at manscaped.com.
I'm muted. Okay, so we have a couple super chats, and then Q, I'm gonna throw it to you. Let me try to finish the super chats. Thank you for everybody.
It's been that way for a while now, and we appreciate the support. By the way, I mean this literally. Our shows have been going longer and longer, and they've been going longer and longer because of the support we get. So shout out to everyone in chat.
Appreciate the love.
Yeah.
Joseph here says the person who talks about Brady being lucky and having great team was Barry McCork in there.
It's not him. He might be one. It's Scott Kazmir is the guy I'm talking about.
Okay. Well, thank you for that.
He has a whole website. I think it's called like Captain Comeback. He literally he says low all the time.
Oh, website?
That sounds unhealthy.
Yeah, I was gonna say those.
Well, he does like no. I'm sorry. He doesn't have a whole website dedicated to it.
Okay.
He has a blog.
Okay. He has a website. This is
sorry.
I was like, is he have a whole website dedicated to hating on Tom Brady, dog? Like, why?
It's Tom Brady is the luckiest quarterback of all time.com. If you just go over there, you just
I'm like, only way you could justify that if he's a Jets fan.
No, he's actually a Steeler fan. So you
Oh,
can
it makes
justify that
well.
one.
I mean, yeah,
You can justify that
one
too.
too. The Steelers are the Patriots Jets of the postseason.
It's sad but true.
Akia says makeup calls justify bad officiating. It's not okay. I mean, bad officiating is the rule of the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, this is what you go in and you expect. Like, hopefully, my team's not on the wrong end today.
Yeah,
I want to know. I want to go through and chart how many of these shows where we did not mention bad officiating one time. Like, I want to know because, like, it feels like every week there is like at least 2 or 3 incidents. Like, I want to know what their rate is. We need to have a stat for bad calls. We need to
they're batting 100. They're batting 1,000 on bad calls.
I'm out here charting bad games per year for like 8 different quarterbacks. I need to see bad calls per game for each referee. You know what I mean? But I feel like that'd be a useful stat. So you know what you got to play through, right?
They do keep stats. There's a guy. Oh, what's his name? There's another guy I follow on Twitter who does keep stats on the number of. No, it's the same guy. It's actually the same guy. He charts the number of flags thrown per crew. So going into a game if this crew is a little more flag happy.
we are crazy in this.
Yes, yeah. No, football nerds. I mean, it's a unique form of nerd, but
it's a thing.
Yeah, you don't realize it until you talk to a normal person about football, and then you're talking about turnover-worthy plays and bad throw percentages, and you're just like, oh, this man's lost. Like this guy is just want to talk about. He likes Nick Chubb.
My wife, anytime I'm like, oh, that wasn't a catch, she said, it looks like a catch. I'm like, yeah, but by the rule, and she's like,
no, but you have to understand about the catch. Like, 2 steps, and then you got to cradle it to the ground.
It feels like a catch, but it doesn't technically match the description. Like, people must look at us in other countries insane about how we watch football because this is insane. The level of dissection that we do.
Football is actually a bad sport. Like when you really break it down, it's actually
it's not. The action stops all the time, but it stops just enough to give us to do what we want to do.
Oh, remember when that came out? When they're like, football has the least amount of action of any sport. The majority of the time, you're watching replays.
I'm like, you watch soccer, dog. They score like 2 times in the game sometimes. Yeah. Like it's not a lot of action.
Nil draw is a common occurrence in soccer. So
yeah, you know what I mean. And like other than basketball, like hockey, you could just get tackled. You know what I mean? But like so there's some physical element to it. But all sports are just their unique own biomes that we go crazy over obsessing about.
Here we had Diddy says, dude. People really up in arms over Stafford not being considered a Hall of Famer. Like, bro, literally had Megatron for years and didn't make the playoffs. I think the whole thing, Stafford Super Bowl,
this is a PFF invention, by the way. This whole discussion is a PFF invention.
Was it? I didn't even know where it came. Like,
Then the guy doubled down and said Roethlisberger shouldn't be a Hall of Famer either. And it's like, okay. And we eject, sir.
Which is why I respect them, Tony. It's why I respect them. Go ahead, Q.
Okay. One, Ben Roethlisberger is a Hall of Famer by the standards that we have. And you can make the argument for Matt Stafford too. I don't think they should be. I've been against the whole Ben is a first ballot Hall of Famer thing, but that's probably because I hate Ben. But
a little bias,
yeah, you know what I mean? I feel like first ballot should be reserved for like the best of the best. I don't think Ben's ever been like the best quarterback in the NFL at any stretch. I just think that's a fair thing to say.
I don't like that. Well, I'm not going to derail,
but that doesn't keep him from being out the Hall of Fame, right? Because there's only so many guys who can be the best guy in their era, right? We would be keeping out Drew Brees if that were the case. Then Drew Brees is amazing. I don't know if you ever looked at his number. Like this stuff is like incredible that he did, especially like 2011. But he didn't win the MVP just because Aaron Rodgers existed. But when we talk about Matt Stafford, we have to acknowledge. Stop giving me this argument that he never had help in his career. Like, one, he had help at every stage of his career. You know who his main wide receiver was at Georgia? I know Ace knows.
AJ Green.
I don't know.
Yeah. AJ Green. He was the original quarterback that AJ Green carried. That's why he was so damn good at it when he got into the league. He was like, oh, yeah, man, I did this before. Come on, get on my back, Andy. Okay. Then he gets to the league, gets Calvin Johnson, has good defenses, had good offensive lines for the most part of his Detroit run, just never had a run game. That's the only thing he never had was a run game. His run games were always like sub 25. But other than that, he's had help. He just, it took him till he got to this super team that is the Los Angeles Rams to get enough help to get over the hump, and he still almost got beat by the Bengals, who,
But I can't resist. He even got.
Would be there.
I can't resist. He got some help from the officials too.
Oh yeah, help from the look. Matt Stafford, you got to factor in the help when it comes to Matt Stafford. He threw 2 interceptions this game. I don't know how he won this game. Like
the interceptions weren't. I mean, the interceptions weren't bad. They weren't his fault.
But he still turned the ball over. Like, I don't know. It wasn't a bad Matt Stafford game. It just wasn't a good Matt Stafford.
It wasn't bad, but it wasn't.
It was Matt Stafford game. It was a Matt Stafford game. This is kind of what we expected from Matt Stafford. Like,
I thought it was overall. I thought it was a good performance. Yeah, I mean, McVay clearly kind of handcuffed him for a large portion of that game, and then finally in the fourth quarter was like, all right.
And then when Matt Stafford decided, when Matt Stafford that last drive finally decided, I'm gonna do what I do best. Get carried, baby. I'm throwing this to Cooper Kupp no matter what. He did make some plays though. He had that no-look pass. That was really good. That was a great throw. That was an amazing throw that he made. I'm not trying to take that away from him. Yeah. But it is hilarious to me and fitting that Matt Stafford did win his Super Bowl by just targeting one dude, because we know that's what Matt Stafford has done a bulk of his career.
Well, he spent the whole rest. I mean, how many slot fades to Van Jefferson are you gonna throw before you're like, all right, I guess
he realized like, these guys are trash. Yeah, these guys are trash. I need to just
Skoranek over the middle. The dig route, the interception he threw on the dig route to Skoranek over the middle. How do you Skoranek? I don't know how you say it.
Yeah, like why are you even throwing that?
It doesn't matter because that dude just bumbles. He bumbles out of his break and then does the whole. Yeah.
he looked at his team before he broke that huddle on that last drive offensively they had. He said, fuck it, I'm throwing the Cooper Kupp. Like Cooper, he was the dude for draft day. Cooper Kupp, no matter what. Like I don't care.
You know who their best receiver was, and somehow Sean McVay just forgot that this was working in the first half. They should have thrown to their running backs more. They were finding open running backs down the field with regularity in the first half, and then the second half, it's just like, nah, we're not gonna do that anymore.
I swear to God, I thought it was Kareem Hunt just dressed up for the Rams because 27 Henderson was just catching everything. I'm like, where is this dude been?
And one of them was a hard throw. I didn't think Henderson was going to catch it. There was one
where he came back around and turned back shoulder.
Like a cover 2 hole shot almost. Wheel route. Yeah.
I'm like, what in the world was going on there? By the way, I'm just going to say this to Bengal fans. Jesse Bates has a bad habit of really leaning on looking at quarterbacks' eyes that he needs to fix if he wants to be as good as he's talented enough to be, because that's something that's been plaguing him, right? I've noticed it with the couple of games that Baker had that were really good against him. Baker looked him off, and I'm like, if Baker can look you off, then like somebody who's really good at that can really like look you off, because Baker sucks at looking guys off. And that's one of the things where Jesse, like I noticed, like he's gonna like guys who really lock in on targets, he's gonna have great games against. That's why he had a great game against the Titans. Ryan Tannehill, he just locks in on you, right? Like he'll just give you exactly where he wants the ball. And I understand why he does it. It's really good for him. But sometimes he needs, like when he's playing, Matt Stafford's a level of quarterback where you can't just lock in on where he is, where his eyes are. And that's why I've noticed with Jesse is sometimes he locks into them eyes too much.
Okay. We have Rudy every lap here says T. Higgins and Jamar Chase are tied for the most career playouts 100-yard receiving games in Bengals history, with each with 2. I mean, 2 young guys are really good. I mean, pretty sure it's right in the receiving room for the Bengals. I'm telling you this, Bengals ain't looking to draft a high receiver. That's for sure.
What do you mean? It was talking about bringing in Gronk and trading for and getting Justin Jefferson in free agency. Hey, they're not done.
Bengals fans, mute it real quick. Does Justin Jefferson drop that third down player now?
That was his only drop of the season. That was his only drop on the season.
Yeah, when you had that one drop of the Super Bowl, man, that's what people go. Now all of a sudden people go talk about Tyler Boyd like he got the drops. It's not fair, but that's all people that see. Oh, he dropped that one pass. So he's missed the drops. You know what I mean?
Okay, Ravens Nation here says, how do you guys feel about the Rams all-in strategy? Consider it paid off. I can tell you, as a Ravens fan, I always wish we were a little more aggressive.
What other choice did the Rams have, though?
I push back on the idea that it's this all-in strategy. By the way, and And I will give credit to the three-letter organization because it was Sam over there who pointed this out. It's not like they trade away their entire draft, right, and just go out and spend all their capital on players. They trade away the top end of their drafts, but they trade back generally to accumulate more day 2 and day 3 picks. They've had 7 picks a year. They just don't have first and second round picks. What their idea is, look, I might have a 70% chance of hitting on a first round talent, but I have like a 95% chance of scouting.
That's the Bill Belichick, right?
Yeah.
Bill Belichick does that a lot.
Well, no, but by trading away their first round talents, what they're saying is if I have a 75% chance of hitting on a first round talent, I have like a 95% chance of being able to scout that this other player who's made it on this other team, who's good on this other team, is going to be good for me, right? And that makes sense.
It's just a different philosophy. We saw it with Washington like 20 years ago, where they refused to keep draft picks and they just had old guys on their team, right?
Yeah.
It's just a different strategy. And what were you supposed to do? Jared Goff was your quarterback, and you knew that, like, internally they must have known that Aaron Donald was not going to be playing around much longer, right? Like, he told people if they win the Super Bowl, like, I'm probably going to retire within the next 2 years, probably at the end of this contract at the very latest. So you know that window is closing, that you're going to have all this talent on that roster. You know that your quarterback stinks. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Jared Goff kind of stinks. And you got to do something. You got to capitalize on that window, or you're going to be another team could have been a Super Bowl team.
The GM for the Rams in the parade had a shirt that said "F the picks."
F them picks.
Yes,
like Michael Jordan.
Yes. Regardless, so Ben here says, regardless, I actually view. Can't believe I'm saying this. Big Ben, Rodgers, Joe Flacco Super Bowl as more impressive than Brady's.
Agreed.
But Taylor's wasn't as aggressive as McVay.
I don't. Well, I'll talk about it. I think McVay got out coached.
Has Tom Brady ever had a Super Bowl run more impressive than what Joe Flacco did in 2012?
I mean, 2012 was special.
It was one of the best of all time. And it never happened again.
You want to talk about the low? You want to talk about the low?
Yeah. Q, we will trade you our pick and Gatorade for 13.
You don't want to move up in front of the Ravens to go get your tackle? The Ravens going to draft the tackle too. We right in front of them. We open for business. You want 13? Come on, give us your second round pick, and we might consider it. And then we can talk about other compensations because you're in the division. So we might need your fourth round pick. You know what I mean? Give us Tyler Boyd too. Give us Tyler Boyd too. You know what I mean? I want David Dan Putney just because I want it.
Tom Brooks here says Browns undefeated last 5 off seasons, world champs.
Hey man, we Super Bowl champs this year. What you mean?
Noah here says Sunny, should Ravens sign Matthew and draft Gardner? So I will say this, because of COVID, I started doing the D tackles for Georgia, and I just couldn't. If
the Ravens get Sauce Gardner here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why did they? What? No, they're not allowed. There's like a moratorium on the Ravens drafting quality corners for like 5 years. Okay.
The only thing I will say is, for my guys in the Ravens, I essentially I'm gonna be scouting D linemen and O linemen because that's all I want. So should they draft a corner? I wouldn't draft a corner. The Ravens, obviously, the first thing they need is health for not only cornerbacks, for a lot of different positions. But if they're healthy on the corner side, they should be fine for next year.
Can I throw in a sneaky one?
Go ahead.
A sneaky one, running back.
No.
Because you got both guys coming back. Well, hold on. I'm not even kidding about this. You got both guys coming back from catastrophic knee injuries.
That's fine. I'll you know what? Sign Freeman.
This is a hot take. This is a hot take 20.
The hot take is not that they could go running back. It's just that there is no running back that you could choose.
First round running back?
Not in the first round. Not in the first round.
That's what I thought you were saying. That's why I laughed.
Like, I don't know a single running back in this class. Like, there's like 3 of them that I know.
We got Breece Hall and Kenneth
drafted Dobbins. Oh, that's
why. Sorry. Yeah, I meant like second or third round.
Forward out of Cincinnati. I'm like, nobody's taking any of these dudes past
I assumed first round just because he was saying
because we were talking about the first round. Yeah. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Right.
Okay, that's justifiable, Tony. My bad. Yeah, they probably can go running back in the third round.
That's E1. That's E1. That's right here.
Ben.
Yeah, no, running back in the first round though. I like it for the Ravens.
No.
Like, that way.
But Burrow is a better man than me. I wouldn't call a timeout after the 5th sack, walk to the parking lot, just put traffic cones up there with me as center and our receiver and pray they stumble or something. It's a good one. It's a good one. David here says,
I think he means Ace.
okay,
Who was
Ace.
that dude that ran on the field without a uniform after Jesse picked the ball off a
That was
point
a
before
corner.
half. Vernon Hargraves. What are you
former
thinking?
Former Bengal Vernon Hargraves.
I'm like, why is he on?
Former
Wait.
player.
That was Vernon
His only
Hargraves that ran onto the
contribution
field?
to the
Yeah, that
Bengals.
was Vernon
He's literally
Hargraves.
never been active, and he still cost the Bengals.
Oh, we're talking about the dude who did the touchdown. Oh, I thought you were talking about like a fan ran because there was a fan that ran on the
looks like
field
a
during the
fan.
Super Bowl.
He looks like a fan because he was
Yeah.
in street clothes.
He was in like
In his little
flip-flops.
flip flops, holding his nutsack. I was like, this man is bold. What is he trying
What
to
is this
do?
dude doing? And I didn't see it at the game because I'm at the game, right? So
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
no instant replay or anything. I didn't see it until like 2 days ago when I was watching the condensed version, and they still slid that in the condensed version because of how ridiculous it was.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Vernon Hargraves was a former first round pick.
Yeah. Former NFL player. By the way, again, I know somebody.
What's
sent-
up with Florida
I'm surprised
DBs and
Quincy
doing the
didn't jump on
I was
the
gonna say,
field after Stafford
Somebody
did
sent
that
me.
thing.
There's a good DB for Florida. This
Yeah,
year.
Kyer Elam. You like him?
And Elam, right? And somebody said, like, Sonny, what do you think about this? And I said, Florida, Elam. I'm not even scouting that shit. Nope.
Well, no, Florida has like a history of having DBs that just do things that make absolutely no sense. Remember the dude who threw the shoe that cost him the game
Who?
against LSU?
Yeah.
The-
Who was that guy? Isn't he? Hold on.
Yeah, he's in NFL now, right? But he threw the shoe. Yeah, they got a critical stop on third down. They were going to get the ball back. They were going to win the game. And this dude celebrates the stop by picking up somebody's shoe and just throwing it for no reason. And
Marco Wilson.
they lost the
You
game.
You want to know what coach? You want to know what coach drafted him? Your favorite?
Was
coach.
it Urban Meyer? I feel like it's Urban.
Even better. Your favorite coach?
Cliff Kingsbury?
Cliff. Your boy
Oh,
Cliff.
See, look, this is why I buy nothing out here coming out of Arizona, man. Because I'm like, I'm not about to trust the word of Cliff Kingsbury.
Traded up to get him too. Traded up to get him.
Trade it up. We need that dude who ruined the game by throwing his shoe. Like, that's the kind of guy that we need on our
That's
team.
Football
A
smart.
dude who is known for blowing a game in the fourth quarter. That's who Cliff Kingsbury trades up for.
Awareness.
Got
yeah,
it?
need
Yeah,
that.
you know what I mean?
Football IQ.
Uh,
He has that
That's
same
Cliff
word
Kingsbury
that,
knows who he is.
Chase has, right? Yeah, not Jamar Chase, but Chase Claypool. Matt Mosley here says, Houday Nation, we will be back, loyal and proud. Noah Stone says Tom Brady will not have 7 or 7 sacks. He gets rid of the ball. Gifster here says, question for you guys. If you're starting a team today, which QB from the league under 30 do you draft first?
Patrick Mahomes.
Boy, that's tough. Yeah, I mean, probably Mahomes.
Mahomes, yeah. Mahomes.
That's on my team.
Yeah.
That beat Pat Mahomes twice. What's up?
Okay.
I mean, Joe Burrow would not slip out the top 5. I promise you that. But yeah. Well, I mean, under 30, he's not going to slip out the top 3. But
Yeah.
no slight to him.
Yeah, no slide.
Like,
Well,
you about to say Justin Herbert over him?
no. I was gonna say Lamar, but
we haven't. No,
we're not.
we don't want-
We got a whole show about that in July,
Yes,
everybody.
yes.
Look forward to the quarterback rankings in the AFC North.
We
because
need to
Sunday
start.
Made it
we-
way more interesting.
We need to spice this show up a little bit, man. We need to just start putting out on our Twitter, Lamar Jackson. Will he be the first franchise quarterback to enter free agency? More on First Take. Like, we need to just start, spicing
like
this
that.
show
More
up a
clickbait?
little
More
bit.
clickbait
Yeah,
on
more
the show?
clickbait. Let's
Yeah,
up
yeah.
the clickbait and
that.
down the actual football talk. You know what I mean? Let's talk about Lamar
Should the
Jackson's
Ravens trade
Instagram.
Lamar Jackson to the Steelers? Find out.
Should the
on the next
Ravens-
episode.
Should the Ravens trade Lamar Jackson for Kyler Murray? Let's see.
Walter here says he only had Megatron, not much.
No,
else.
he did not, bro. He had Golden Tate. Do people forget this?
Yeah,
He had Golden Tate
Megatron.
and Megatron at the same time.
People sleep that Nate Burleson was actually good back in the day, like as a
Yeah,
number
I was
2
gonna say, they
receiver.
also-
Tight ends were
Burleson.
good too.
Yeah,
Like, they had
like-
some good tight ends back then.
Yeah,
Like,
people like, he never had a defense. Remember how good Ndamukong Suh used to be?
Yes, that defense was like top 5. It was like
he was so
They were only
good.
top 5 for 1 year. They were only top 5 for 1 year.
Yeah, and then Nick Fairley and Ndamukong Suh stepped on somebody's face, and that ruined that whole thing. But you know, I mean, he hasn't had the greatest teams around him, but he's had good enough teams to where if he were like a top 5 quarterback, you would have made the playoffs more than once. Well, won a playoff game at least. Right, like that's my argument. Not that he's had the greatest help in the world, like unless except for this year, he did have the greatest help of anybody else in the National Football League. But you know, he's had good enough help to where you can't use that as an excuse. Like he wasn't Archie Manning. People act like, oh, no, 2018 Eric Ebron.
No. 2018 Eric Ebron's on the Colts. He had 2016.
Oh, okay, that's not as good. Yeah, that's a different.
Not as good.
Yeah.
Eric Ebron, you know.
Says, hey Ace.
I love that we brought that one back in the meta. You know.
Yeah. What are the chances Bengals visit the possibility of acquiring Stephon Gilmore?
Depends on his age, man. I don't think that they're going for guys 30, that are over 30. It's got to be somebody that's like 25 plus and I don't think that. I think if they're acquiring somebody like via trade, it's
no. He's a free agent.
Oh, okay. Nah, they're not doing that. Like It's got to be a young guy. It's got to be a guy that's like 25, like kind of what they did with Cheeto, DJ Reader. Now the old Bengals, that would be something that they would do. They go and try to get somebody that's like in their 30s, so they wouldn't have to pay as much. But nah, I don't think that they go after Stephon Gilmore.
Wait a minute. What did the Panthers trade to get him?
The Panthers traded for him?
Yeah. I think it was in a 3rd round.
Okay, I guess it wasn't that much. Okay.
Why did the Panthers trade for anybody? Like they were going to
disaster franchise.
Hey Tony, you don't.
They signed Cam Newton.
Okay, it was nothing. Okay,
it was nothing. I'm about to say because I'm like they traded. They signed Cam Newton off the street to start for them at one point this year. They were never going to be good. Like
he had a good game. He had a good game over there.
Well, no, I'm saying like when you're at the point to where like we're gonna see what Cam got and he's gonna start for us. That you're not going to the Super Bowl. I can pretty much guarantee that.
Cam needs to retire after the season.
Cam needed to retire last year. Like he's old. He's not.
For sure. Yeah. Hey Tony, you don't have to say how much you bet, but do you bet on?
Did I bet on heads or tails? I should have. I only bet 3 things in this game. I didn't bet any props, unfortunately. I bet Bengals plus 4.5. We talked about that on the show. I did Rams money line, Cooper Kupp MVP, and I was so sure that I was like, man, I could have gone 3 for 3, but they're going to give Aaron Donald MVP. And then I don't know if you guys heard this. You know why Aaron Donald did not get MVP?
They vote like 6 minutes before the game ends, right?
They want them in by the 2-minute warning.
2-minute warning.
So that's even before Cooper Kupp scored his second touchdown.
That's stupid.
That's so dumb.
Yeah, with technology now.
So what would have happened? Hold on. What would have happened if let's say Burrow does go to Chase, right? Let's say he looks the other way and he hits Chase for a long touchdown. Is Cooper Kupp still our MVP today? Don't they have to don't we have to be like timeout and we're gonna need a revote?
Yeah.
It takes like 10 seconds to have everybody vote.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
It's dumb.
It should have been Aaron.
Yeah, I agree. or co-MVP. I would have been good with co-MVP.
Nah, they ain't got 2 trophies. You gotta give it to one. It's gotta be Aaron Donald.
Only room in Disneyland for one of them.
Well, Disney took all 3: Stafford, Donald, and Kupp. Don't get so Joseph here says, don't get me started with boring sports. Baseball is a thing. People get excited about no hitters, but that's just dudes playing catch with 30 cameras.
My hot baseball take. Well, it's not a hot take. The shifts ruin everything, right? They didn't outlaw these ridiculous shifts they do. The ball's never in play. It's so boring. Like it's either a strikeout or it's a home run. And the ball is never in play. You never get these like interesting situations where you have like split base spot where it's like third, first, you get like a double, get somebody in, and you got another guy in scoring position. No, it's just all like, this is why I'm saying when if you go too far with analytics, sometimes you just make the game less fun. Baseball is a prime example of that, where they analytic that one to hell, and now it's just robots. You might as well just play robot ball.
Okay, 6 pounds hell under 25, forced to interception is Theo. And Akila here says a Steelers fan talking about Dropton Johnson. Yeah.
Deontay Dropson is the proper way to make that joke. Okay.
Oh, just a bit outside. You hate to see him. He dropped that joke.
Yeah, you fumbled the joke.
2020, Tom Brady won 3 road playoff games against 3 Hall of Fame QBs. Cleveland Browns are 0-56 at making the Super Bowl.
That's not an official record.
AB uses his magic to get Mike Williams on a cheaper contract. Trade back and pick up
Olave.
Olave or Williams. Pick Winfrey
Oh.
to make you happy. After that, he'll revoke Tony Rossi's press pass, and it'll be the best draft ever.
Let me tell you something. If they trade for if they sign Mike Williams and then draft Chris Olave, they better take Perry on Winfrey to make me happy, because I would not be happy. I would be very upset.
You don't like Olave?
I'm fine with Olave, but like Mike Williams, I know he killed us, but that's because we didn't cover him. Like, I'm just not a big Mike. I was never big on Mike Williams.
He's uncoverable.
He's uncoverable when you forget about him. You know what I mean? Like, it's real hard to cover a dude you don't know exists.
Yeah, I think he's good, but he probably hit his reliability on the field. Anyway, Diddy here says Rams general manager has shirt that said F them picks. Okay, Q, tell me, what do you thought about this game after an hour of super chats?
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting game here. I think this game took an interesting path where it started out pretty hot, right? I think both teams kind of started out looking okay, and then they just did that thing that a lot of football games do, where it hits the third quarter and nothing happens, right? Like, straight up, nothing happened for like 10 minutes in this game, where it was 3 and out, 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 3 and out. I was on my treadmill. I was like, oh man, is anything going to happen? I was about to tweet, man, this game looks real familiar, because I've seen a ton of Browns games and Steelers games this year that looked like that in the third and fourth quarter. But then right as I was about to tweet that, they started making that drive to win the game. Look, this is a game where it really came down to what, Sonny talks about the most, right? This is a trenches game, right? Where it just came down to that. Who can win the battle? I think both teams put up good fights on the defensive side of the ball. I think the Bengals put up a much stronger fight than you would have expected. They were ferocious on that line, especially in the first half against the run. I mean, I thought, me and Tony thought that, hey, maybe you might be able to run the ball on the Bengals, right? We thought that might be something that you could be able to do. No. Yeah. Wrong. That was strike one. Okay, we missed on that one. Okay, cool. They were not able to run the ball at all, like not even remotely, terribly, like not even able to get there. Bengals actually were able to run the ball there on the offensive side. The issue just came when it came to, the pressure that Von Miller was getting all game, and how Aaron Donald collapses the pocket and kind of forces things to happen in the pass game. I felt like Joe in that first half did a real good job of being patient, just taking what's there, just getting the profit, right? Just getting up downfield. I think in the third quarter, he kind of got impatient a little bit. I think he tried to just hold on to the ball just a little bit longer, make a play. I think he started to feel the pressure of the moment. Well, not feel the pressure at the moment, but feel the urgency of the moment a little bit to kind of get points on the board to get this game away from the Rams, because, Matt Stafford threw 2 interceptions. You want to get that game away from them so they can't come back, because, that's just how football works. But yeah, I felt like he started pressing just a little bit there in the third quarter. The Rams really took advantage of that, started getting sacks galore. Also, Quentin Spain, man. Was that Quentin Spain that antagonized Aaron Donald in that scrum?
I believe it was.
Yeah, that was dumb.
What are you thinking? Because after he antagonized Aaron Donald was like, y'all think I'm soft.
Oh. He was trying to come to his defense after he hit Joe, like on that sideline hit.
It was illegal. Like, this is the one thing I will be really critical on about, because Quentin Spain, I've seen this a million times with Quentin Spain. Like, every time I watch a Bengals game, Quentin Spain is like, the second somebody touches Joe Burrow, he trying to start a fight. I get it, Quentin. You down for your quarterback, but dog, you'll get a penalty or something someday, right?
He want to make sure he doesn't get cut, and if he's Joe's buddy, he's like, well, he has my.
He's like, Joe, you see me out here going hard for you, right? Yeah. So when it comes, but it's also
tweeted something like that after the game too, I think.
Yeah. I mean, Quentin Spain he goes hard for the quarterback. Cool, whatever. Everybody. Mike Pouncey once blacked out for his quarterback, and it wasn't even the starter, right? Oh, was that Marquise? Yeah, one of them Pouncey twins. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I get it, whatever. Like, it's the quarterback. But, sometimes you got to play a little bit smarter than that, right? You can be mad at Aaron Donald. You can show that you ain't going to let Aaron Donald do that, but you ain't got to antagonize him. You ain't got to touch him, right? Like, you don't have to make Aaron Donald more mad. Now, I'm not saying that, you made Aaron Donald mad, which made Aaron Donald play good in the Super Bowl. Obviously, Aaron Donald was motivated to play good in the Super Bowl. But it gave him that extra motivation to make an extra play there that might have not been there. And then that's kind of what really turned the tide there with that defensive line battle. I think Zach kind of went away from the run a little bit here. I think he could have got something with the run, right? I think Joe Mixon was running the ball quite well. I think, in that third quarter when nothing was hitting, I think both teams should have took each other's strategies and used them, right?
Yeah,
where McVay was running the ball when there was no reason to run the ball at all, like no evidence that was going to be successful. I got so mad when he ran that ball on, like, was it like a 2nd and 1? I'm like, why are you about to go to 3rd and 5? Why do you want to go back? You know nothing good is happening on 2nd and 1 if you run this ball. They ran the ball. They stopped us like they did the last 14 times you ran the ball. It made no sense. But the Bengals, I felt like they could have went more and leaned on running the ball because they had to lead in the third quarter. If I'm right? If I'm right? They had to lead up until the end of the game, right? Yeah. And, Joe Mixon's not bad. He's like a top 5 running back. I finally given him that, right? And, you were able to push them a little bit and run the ball. And I think they said in the broadcast, you want to run at Aaron Donald more than you throw with Aaron Donald out there. And I just felt like, I think this is one of those things where their identity is the Migos. Their identity is those 3 wide receivers, and they felt backed into the corner. They wanted to lean on that identity. Well, you can't forget that Joe Mixon's back there, right? Maybe we got to, do like maybe the Bengals got to do like a 4 Musketeers thing, add Mixon on there so they don't forget about him late in games sometimes. But yeah, I think Mixon could have ran the ball well because as criticized as the Bengals are for their bad pass blocking, I don't think it was that bad. Their run blocking was really good in that game. I felt like they were able to get downfield and really turn guys around in that secondary. And remember, the Rams linebackers are terrible, and they got hurt in this game. Like, you could have ran at them a lot more and just not have to put all of the burden on Joe Burrow. It wasn't necessary. So that's the one thing I'll say there. When it comes to some of the critical plays in this game, that Tyler Boyd or the T. Higgins touchdown, definitely pass interference, right? Like that definitely happened, but they were letting them play all game. So I think that's why that one penalty at the end of the game stands out, because it was like, oh man, y'all let them play all game, and then all of a sudden, slight bump to Cooper Kupp, and we're throwing the flag out. That would piss me off too, right? Because it was open. They were letting dudes get hit all game until that point. Why was Samaje Perine in at the end? Why was Samaje Perine in the fourth quarter period? Like
the super chat here.
Oh, ninth dimensional chess there, dude. They'll never see it coming.
I hate when coaches do that, by the way. I was just on the podcast talking about this with the Browns. Like, because if you look at the Browns, right, David Njoku was clearly their best tight end. Like, he was better in every statistical number than Austin Hooper. Got less targets, though, because they going to expect us to throw the ball to David Njoku, right? We got to get it to Austin Hooper, who sucks. So it's just, man, I don't, because it's not like you ran Joe Mixon a ton. Well, he wasn't tired. I promise you that. No. So I just don't get why Samaje Perine was in the game at all. Why was he? Well, I get why he was active, but why was he?
He's a better pass protector.
The 3rd and 1 went to him, the running play. It wasn't Joe Mixon. The Donald made a hell of a play and stopped him. That was before the 4th down.
Yeah, I get he's a slightly.
How is that not a Mixon run? How is that 3rd one not a Mixon run?
That's what I'm saying. Well, Perine is the bruiser, right? And Joe Mixon's not as much. But this ain't Oklahoma, dog. Like, that's what they did at Oklahoma. Perine was the bruiser, but Mixon's just better, man. Like, he's just better. And I balk at the idea that they kept him in the game just because he's a better pass protector. It don't matter if you're a better pass protector. It's Aaron Donald. What is running back going to do if Aaron Donald breaks through the hole other than yell, "Run, Joe"? Like, it ain't nothing going to happen there. Like, I don't care who that running back is. It could be LaDainian Tomlinson, one of the best pass protectors of all time at the position. It ain't happening, dog. He's not doing anything. Who's the one dude that stonewalled Sean Marion? Was that Darren Sproles? That was Darren Sproles. Okay, so that was just a funny meme thing. But yeah, it just didn't make any sense why Joe Mixon wasn't out there at the end of the game, why Joe Mixon didn't have a bigger role in this game. I think that's where Zach Taylor's going to look at this. Yeah, there were some failures. I think Joe, that first drive, missed that 4th and 1, right? Absolutely just did not see Tyler Boyd wide open on that motion, missed him. tried to get the ball to Chase, I think, in the middle of the field. That was a miss there, right?
You're talking about T. Higgins.
Yeah, T. Higgins.
Higgins in motion. Yeah.
Higgins was in motion. He blocked open, and then they tried to throw the ball to Chase. I'm like, nah, Higgins was wide open off that motion. You should have probably just checked that there. But those mistakes happen. I don't know if it's a mistake. It's just, you didn't miss that opportunity. Just go straight up, just throw the ball up to Chase, see what happens. They've done it before. Like that has absolutely happened before in critical situations. So, you missed that opportunity there, but I'm not going to put this game on Joe. It's not a game that was bad enough. You could just put it on one player, but it was just, a couple of missed opportunities there. And I think the real missed opportunity was the lack of opportunity that you gave Joe Mixon to make an impact on this game. Because I think he could have really extended some of these drives because he did in one of these drives, right? Like they just went straight running the ball. He got all the way to like the 30 just running the ball with Joe Mixon. So I just don't know why they went away with that. And especially as well as he was playing, why did you take him off the field in such a critical situation? Nobody could tackle Joe Mixon all game. And then you put Samaje Perine in on 4th and 1. On 3rd and 1, it made no sense. And was he even on the field on 4th and 1?
Nope.
So there was no threat of an outlet, right? Like there was no threat of anybody coming. Yeah, it was Perine.
They didn't have Mixon out there.
Yeah, and nowhere in the world do you think that Perine is getting the ball on 4th and 1? Like there's no way that you're gonna shift your coverages that way, right? But Joe Mixon, he might. So, learnable moment for a young coach there in Zach Taylor. I think that's what we found out here. Sean McVay, one of the best coaches in the game, kind of outcoached him in this game. I don't know if I'll go that far.
Yeah, I don't think either coach is good.
This game, it is one of the dumbest decisions in that third quarter. Like so many dumb decisions. I ain't gonna go that far, but I would say if I'll say this: if Zach Taylor made some more sound decisions when it comes to the offense in the third quarter, I think the Bengals would have won this game a little bit more comfortably, But I feel like and kind of got caught up in the moment of the game. It happens. It's his first Super Bowl. We'll see if he gets to a second. But it happens. It's a rough way to go out on 4th and 1 game so close. I mean, the Super Bowl was right in your hands, Ace. You were sitting there, 6 minutes left. Like, man, we just got 6 minutes to our Super Bowl. I know. Is that close? Was that close?
Yeah.
But it took it from you. They really did take it from you. Oh man, I know that Logan Wilson penalty is gonna be talked about in Bengals lore forever. And every time Logan Wilson makes a breakup, I'm like, man, they called a penalty on that in the Super Bowl just to make Bengal fans mad. But other than that, yeah, that's
Logan Wilson's a beast, by the way.
The worst part about that is Jermaine Pratt literally does the same thing the play before against the receiver on the opposite side, and they don't throw a flag. Like literally the play.
It wasn't Cooper Kupp. That's all that happened. It was Cooper Kupp, and they were astonished at what they saw.
Oh,
Could not believe it. That's like if LeBron got blocked by like Jeremy Pargo or somebody like that. Like, no, I'm calling a flag on that, dog. Like, no way you blocked LeBron clean.
Rex here says this is for Q. Apparently, Ric Flair is upset no one reached out after his recent divorce. It seems no one cares. He's still with his sixth wife, who's younger than his daughter.
How did we get to Ric Flair?
Got him.
You got a wrestling burner now. You're multifaceted now.
Ben here says Zach Impress said today it was his call he had to live with. OC asked him about a sub for Mixon, and he said, nah, man, we straight.
I'm getting that on a fucking shirt.
Ryan earned it. I hate this. I hate when coaches do this.
Let's be honorable.
No, man. That's only the biggest player in my life. We gonna give it to the dude I felt like earned it instead of the best running back on one of the best running backs in football. Nah, man. P-Ron been working hard. Joe Mixon been working hard too, dog. I'm getting that on the shirt.
The more these coaches open their mouths, the more these coaches have opened their mouths since the game ended, the more I believe, and I was saying this at the time, I was saying during the game, it's the worst coach Super Bowl I've ever seen in my life. And the more they open their mouth after the game, the more I'm convinced that like,
dog, he said P-Ryan earned it.
Coach Super Bowl of all time.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. We can Google it.
Damn, you know what P. Ryan also earned? Like winning the Super Bowl. Why did you just Give him a better chance by taking homie off the field. What are we doing? What are we doing? I hate what coaches do. This is like if the Steelers were like, yeah, man, we got Najee Harris, but we going to do all this critical 3rd and 1. Derek Watt, up the middle,
Benny
baby.
Snell's earned this, dog. Benny Snell. He's been with the team for so long. Benny Snell's earned this one, dude.
Yeah, he deserves to have this. The Browns did something similar like that last year, but they just got away with it. Where it was that last play against the Steelers in the regular season game where they needed a first down to like clinch it because they were only up by like 3, and they decided to do like a direct run with Baker Mayfield because they felt like he earned to have that moment. And I'm like, it's a good thing he got the first down, because if you didn't and you ran the ball with Baker Mayfield when you have 2 dudes who are infinitely better at running the ball than Baker Mayfield on your roster, that's one of the dumbest decisions of all time. Coaches do this shit all the time. It's so dumb. It's like they're playing Madden. It's not Madden, dog. Just win the game.
Joseph here says, Q going, what was a running back going to do against Donald? Yell, run, Joe. She made me spit my drink.
What is honestly, though, what's somebody going to do? Help? With Aaron Donald?
Ben's here says, also Zach said he didn't do screen because he didn't want an interception.
No,
okay.
That's not true, is it? Hold on. Did he really say that? Because that's one of my big questions in this game.
Yeah.
Why didn't they run more screen?
Go ahead, man. So it's up to you. What do you think?
I mean, like, again, I was going to open this with like, I don't want to be a hot take machine today, but this might be the worst coach Super Bowl I've ever seen. But no, I mean, the more everybody talks about this is the worst coach Super Bowl. I mean, this was like such a poorly coached game. I do think for the Bengals as a team, it is kind of, I don't know, poetic that, for a team where we talked about all year, right? We kept, this line that we talked about throughout the postseason, right? They're post analytics, right? You can't use analytics to describe why they win football games. And then the Super Bowl, you could boil down to like, when your grandmother's over and she's like, hey, what should I watch for in the Super Bowl, right? Because you're watching with like a group of people. So you should just the Rams defensive line is really good and the Bengals offensive line is really bad, and that's going to decide the game, right? Like as much as we talked about, watch what happens when the Bengals are in 3-by-1 and where's Ramsey, and is it Ramsey versus Chase, or like, the Bengals love to drop coverage and that dagger concept that they like to run where they run the backside dig, like those robbers are going to be just watch the Bengals offensive line and the Rams defensive line. And you could boil this whole game down, right? So like Aaron Donald, good. Bengals offensive line, not good. But I did think, kind of drilling down into the game itself, I think this was kind of a 3-act play. I mean, I do think it kind of plays out like in a 3-act structure where you have everything before OBJ's injury. I think the Rams kind of asserted themselves early on, especially on offense. It's like, okay, they got some things going here with OBJ, right? When they were running, we talked earlier about the OBJ versus Mike Hilton matchup when they were getting him in the slot. They scored the touchdown on that. Boy, and this is one of those things. You guys know I love Mike Hilton. I was sad to see Mike Hilton, to see him leave, and especially to go to the Bengals. But that when I said earlier this year, like, he's a good cover guy, but you don't want him in certain matchups. This is obviously not a great matchup for Mike. And so, before OBJ's injury, it did really feel like there were points in the game where you felt like, the Rams might actually run away with this one. I know it was a 13-10 game when OBJ went down, but even still, man, if he stays in this game, I don't know that this game stays close. With OBJ in the game, the Rams had 5 drives, 28 plays, 165 yards. They were averaging, with OBJ in the game, 5.9, nearly 6 yards per play. They scored 2 touchdowns on those drives. But then he went down, right? And this is where I think we kind of it shifts, right? All the momentum shifts in this game. As soon as OBJ goes down, I think everyone had the same thought, which is, that's a big loss for the Rams because they don't have Robert Woods, right? They don't have Tyler Higbee. I mean, they're going down to guys like Skoranek and Robert Woods, and it's Cooper Kupp in the gang. I mean, it's not a whole lot after that. And this is where I thought for Sean McVay, a coach who has talked about ever since he lost that game to the Patriots, was it 3 years ago? He talks about all the time. You heard on every pregame show this week. Oh, I really screwed that game plan up. I overthought it. It was the game plan was too complicated. We didn't have enough adjustments to make in the moment. I'm not going to let that happen to us again this time. Well, you sure about that, Sean? You sure about that, Sean? Because you had a big adjustment to make in the middle of this game. Okay, OBJ is down. And you're not just going to be throwing slot fades to Van Jefferson, right? You're not running the backside dig anymore to Skoranek. You can't do these things anymore. And so how are you going to move the football now that you don't have this cheat code in OBJ? What is your backup? What is your adjustment mid-game to this? And his adjustment was, what if I just ran the ball a lot? Like, what if I just kept running the ball until into a brick wall until we figure out that maybe at some point this will figure itself out? And this was like coaching malpractice, and McVay coached scared in this one really ever since when OBJ went down till that last drive. Sean McVay was the most scared person on the planet. He convinced himself they were about to lose this football game, and he could not figure out a way out of it. The Rams drives in the second half after OBJ goes down, but before that last drive, 23 plays on 6 drives for 66 yards, 2.8 yards per play. 2.8. That's Pittsburgh Steelers level football, okay? That's Ben Roethlisberger against the Chiefs. That's the kind of football we were watching from Sean McVay, this offensive genius who talks about I need to have better in-game adjustments. The in-game adjustment for him to make, this is why I think he was the worst coach from the two. Because the in-game adjustment he had to make is the one that he made back in January this time. You got to let Matt Stafford cook, okay? You traded 2 first-round draft picks for a guy who you say, okay, I can't win with Goff.
Right or die.
I can't drag this kid everywhere. I got to have a guy who can make some plays in the moment. And then we get to that moment, and he goes, oh, no, actually, I'd rather just run the ball every first down into a brick wall and leave myself in 3rd and 11 for the rest of the game. Like, his coaching malpractice in this one should have cost the Rams this football game. The only reason it didn't, and this is where I think, for Bengals fans it hurts, is because they had this game. They had this one in the second half. After that, after OBJ goes down, and the Bengals take that quick lead. I mean, and by the way, it was back-to-back. I mean, 2 plays, literally 2 plays. Bam, touchdown, bam, interception, and we're good to go. But the Bengals offense in that second half, they were borderline worse than the Rams. Here's their numbers. After the OBJ injury, 7 drives, 32 plays, 117 yards, and a touchdown. Right now, that's 3.6 yards per play. But that includes the 1 play to T. Higgins, the deep one to T. Higgins. If you take that play out and you say, okay, what did they do other than the one long pass they had? 6 drives, 31 plays, 42 yards, just 1.3 yards per play. And once Aaron Donald and Von Miller started to get going, and I understood that the Rams made the adjustment in the second half, that they started to put Donald and Miller on opposite sides so they couldn't just slide coverage. That way they started running wider, they started running stunts, they started overloading pressure, again, to manufacture ways for Donald to get one-on-ones. And I understand that's a hard matchup to solve, but like, Zach Taylor, did you not have an answer in this game for like, hey, what happens, by the way, if our offensive line just can't block Aaron Donald? What do we do? What is like the fallback there for Zach Taylor? I don't know, just like, just keep doing what we're doing. I don't know. I mean, I look, and I understand it's a harder problem to solve because, hey, what do we do if we have a really bad offensive line and the best defensive player of all time is dominating the football game? And that's why I say Taylor was probably the better coach in this one, but I don't think this was a well-coached game. And by the way, I don't think it was a really well-played game from Joe Burrow either. And I didn't come away from it thinking that, but in watching Nate Tice break this game down, he has the All-22. He did it on his Twitch stream. I encourage everybody to watch it. And the same thing with Coach Voss on YouTube, who had the All-22 and broke it down. Man, there were a lot of throws in this game that Joe Burrow missed. And we talked about it earlier, that first 4th down play. What a credit to Joe Burrow, by the way, because look, we grade him on a curve now, right? We're now considering Joe Burrow as his top quarterback. So, this was a bad game by Joe Burrow standards. But what a credit to him that, like, I was shocked that he didn't see T. Higgins, right? We have come accustomed to Joe Burrow now that if you are going to bust coverage like that, and make no mistake, Ramsey and whoever that other guy, the nickel was, they busted coverage. I mean, T. Higgins was wide ass open and Burrow doesn't hit him. That's a shock to us now, right? I mean, credit to Joe Burrow for that. This is a really, really tough loss for the Bengals. It's one that I'm sure that they're going to, obviously, Burrow, we know, has regrets. You can see it in the inside the NFL, right? When he talks about that last play against Jalen Ramsey, where he should have taken the shot and he takes the safer route. Yeah, I know people have brought up the Dan Marino thing in this now. They say, everyone said after Dan Marino his second year is going to, he's going to be right back. And then he never went. And I know people all say that all the time. And it's a fun comparison. It's an easy comparison to make today. And by the way, we don't have to go back that far. In their own division, if you would have said to Ravens fans 2 years ago after they went 15-1 and the Ravens won,
14.
Lamar Jackson won MVP. Okay. If you would have told them after that year, yeah, by the way, you're not going to win another division. You're not going to win the division in the next 2 years, and you're not even going to make the playoffs in one of the next 2 years. No Ravens fans would have believed you. So, I mean, look, yes, it is possible that this Bengals team takes some step backwards or they have some bad luck at times. But like, as a Steeler fan, I will tell Bengals fans, you don't have to believe that crap. Ben Roethlisberger in his first year went 15-1, made it to the AFC Championship game, got embarrassed, and then came back the next year and won the Super Bowl. And 3 years later, he won another one. And 2 years later, they were in another one. Right? I mean, like, this idea that like, oh, well, if you make it too early, it's like impossible. It's going to be hard for them to get back. I agree with that. But like, this is a young team. They're just getting started. Like, they have a ton of cap space. They have a ton of flexibility. it's going to be interesting to see how this team goes. Not a guarantee that they get back, but yeah, I mean, it's a tough loss for them. And it does, like I said, I talked to Bengals fans about this on Twitter. It makes you appreciate when you lose the Super Bowl, that nothing makes you appreciate how hard it was to get there than losing it. Because holy crap, you start looking back, you're like, man, look at all the things we had to do to get here and how hard it was to even be in that football game. And so it's tough, but this Bengals team is young enough that Bengals fans should keep their head held high.
Yep. Rody here says, Ace, will you sign Gronkowski? You're muted, Ace.
Muted.
Drew Sample is my backup. Of course, I was signed. Gronkowski.
Joseph here says, Ace, if Zach is going to run backup running backs in important moments, I'm spending a third on a running back. I will never want to look at Samaje Perine
Chris
again.
Evans, bro. We've got Chris Evans.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to talk about that play. What a really good, what a well-designed play it was. The little wheel that they ran, kind of a tendency breaker for them there, where they caught him and Burrow just missed him a little bit. That was a great play.
Tom Brooks here says lots of false stuff about what Taylor said. Stop. Okay. Cute.
Is that P. Ryan quote true though? Like, is that a real
some
quote?
of these quotes are true.
Yeah.
Because
I have McVay quotes.
That's the one.
They're bad.
Some of these quotes are like, okay, yeah, that's a little ridiculous. I'm not about to. But if the P. Ryan run is true, I'm putting that on the shirt. I mean, we be.
Gavin here says, Ace, congrats on a very successful season. Gotta be proud of what those guys did this year. Gonna be scary opponents for years to come for sure.
Appreciate that, Gavin.
Ben was the one that threw out the quote, so hopefully we can then verify it later. That is what he said with. Wait, that is what he said.
That's what he said. Yeah, with only mild embellishment.
Only mild.
I was hornswoggled and flabberstruck when I heard it. But he also said we're better without an indoor practice facility, and the field hockey crew is nice letting us share. We're still doing the indoor practice facility thing today.
Yeah.
Are we really? Come on, man.
I think we got to retire that one. I think officially,
wait.
Indoor practice facility stuff about the Bengals is retired now.
So,
now we got to talk about how at training camp they be having cardboard trash cans. Like, that's the one thing I'm like, come on, Bengals. Like, why are you doing this to yourselves? Because I went to their training camp a couple years ago, and I was like, are these trash cans made out of cardboard? Like, legit, they had cardboard trash cans. Yeah, they like had boxes that this is the trash. Like, they do stuff like that makes it hard not to make jokes about them. But yeah, we got the indoor facility jokes. Like, they ain't even funny no more. Like, we done did all the angles to that we can. You know what I mean? We got to find some new stuff to make fun of the Bengals about. Let's dig up some other stories from past or see if some new stories pop up that talk about how cheap Mike. Let's talk about Mike Brown's suit. You saw that man came to the Super Bowl in a JCPenney suit. Man, it was a football team.
What would you expect? I mean, it's Mike Brown.
Yeah, the shirt didn't fit, the suit didn't fit, and the hat definitely didn't fit. I don't know how you have a hat that don't fit. It's adjustable. In the back, his hat was like on the top of his head, just hanging on for dear life. When I saw him in that booth.
Diddy, can you tag us in the quote on Twitter, please?
Yes, if you have a transcript of the press conference, I would love to read it.
Okay, let me talk about this game real quick because I do want also to have Ace and we running almost 2 hours here. Q, do you have to leave now?
Yeah, about 5 minutes. I'm about to be out.
Okay. Wow. So I knew the result of the game because I didn't watch the game live, and then I went because I recorded and watched this game. So I have that benefit of watching the game afterwards, and it was interesting.
He was not going to live
to
watch the Bengals with that.
Yeah, it's dangerous. Are we gonna stay up all night to watch Joe Burrow win his first one?
Nah.
So I'm sick. If they win it, they win it. If they don't, I'm watching it.
The reality is I did think the Bengals was going to win this game. I mean, I predicted that. And I said there was one thing that the Bengals can have for them to lose, the D-line for the Rams to dominate the Bengals, right? If you think about this game, like if we take a step back, if I think about the secondary of the both teams, I think the secondary of the Bengals had the better game. If I think middle linebacking core, I think the Bengals had the better game. Or the better middle linebacking core. D-line, I'll give it to the Rams, obviously. O-line, I'll give it to the Rams again. Wide receiver, Bengals. Running back, Bengals by a little bit, but it wasn't like either team was running all over the place. Quarterback, Bengals, right? Tight end.
Well, you would give it to the Bengals on quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, Stafford had 2 picks. I think Stafford had one good drive at the end, and he had the one good touchdown that we go route to OBJ. Okay, Tony, let's say it's a wash. Let's just put a tie. Right? I don't think Burrow had a great game. I think Burrow had a decent game, and I think Stafford had a decent game. Right? I don't think neither of these quarterbacks had a. But my point is, if you go position group by position group, the Bengals had the better team in this game, right? But it's the trenches. And the trenches is a thing that people don't like to think about because it's not as sexy as a wide receiver or whatever. But it's so important. And as I was thinking about it, I was telling Tony, like, man, the Bengals made the wrong pick in the offseason. And it wasn't on Jamar Chase though. It was on another player that I love that they picked. And I'm blanking on this dude's
Jackson
name.
Carmen.
No, Henderson. I love Henderson. I wish the Ravens would have picked him. But the reason why I say Henderson is if you could, I'm not even saying that this would have completely changed this game. But if you can switch Henderson for a guy like Rooney, the Bengals for next year, even if they lose this year, they're closer to having that O-line that they need to keep pushing up for a playoff or Super Bowl run, right? Henderson is fantastic. This is not an indictment on Henderson. It was a great pickup. I'm just saying the better pickup might have been Thuney, right? The guard from the Patriots that went to Kansas City. Saying all that, look, man, I fell for the Bengals a little bit here. Not because I was rooting for them, although I picked them. Because, I mean, it's hard, right? You think you're winning this game, and then you lost it. I had a problem essentially with the last drive of this game. If we go back, it was 2nd and 1, right? Man, you know they're coming hot for you. You know your O-line is struggling. Because the O-line, as either Tony or Q mentioned, in the first half played really good. I mean, they maybe allowed 1 sack, maybe 2 at most in that first half. Really good. But that second half, they were struggling. I mean, that second half, they couldn't keep up. So between Zach Taylor and Burrow, both of them need to know they're coming hot for me. I need to have a short route option here to throw on 2nd and 1. The third, by the way, 3rd and 1, I love that play call on the running back. I just didn't like the running back selection. But 3rd and 1, try to catch them sleeping and running the ball. I'm okay with that play. Again, I just didn't like P. Ryan and Donald made a hell of a play because it wasn't anything that P. Ryan did wrong. But how Donald pushed the guard just a little bit to slow P. Ryan and then grab P. Ryan with insane. It's just insane play by Aaron Donald. And then in the 4th down, I think either Q or Tony mentioned this. It wasn't like they snapped the ball and the guy was on top of Burrow right away. Burrow had, 2 seconds or whatever, which you would say, Sonny, but that's not a lot. I agree. But in 4th and 1, they're coming for you quickly. So when I went back, and I haven't seen the old 22, but I was expecting a drag, some easy route combination other than the go route.
It was slant flat. It was slant flat.
Okay, but my point is, Burrow, again, not seeing the old 22. What I saw from the play was Burrow kept looking into the one guy, right, and the one guy wasn't there, and my hope would have been like, not there, go to the next one, and he almost locked to whoever, again, not seeing the old 22, whoever that one guy, and then when he saw and then when he saw the pressure from the left side, he was like, who's on my right side? Which is fine. He almost made that play, by the way. That was fantastic.
The running back almost caught it and made, this was going to be like another friggin' helmet catch type of deal, like just miracle.
Again, I was shocked because not that the running back almost caught it, the ability of Joe Burrow having a somewhat decent pass in that play, right? Because he's completely under pressure. He's just throwing it in the air. So that was a good play, essentially, in that portion. But the beginning portion of that play, it almost felt like, man, you're 2nd and 1. Like that was the thing, right? You're 2nd and 1. You just need to push it what a yard, and you couldn't for 3 downs, and that's how you lose. The other thing I will say is the Bengals. One thing that disappoints me about the Bengals, when we think about the Bengals, is a high power offense, right? You Chase, Boyd, Higgins, Mixon. So you're thinking about this high caliber offense, but I think the offense, there's something, I think Tony mentioned this at some point during the season. There's something missing in this offense, right? Which is not personnel. I mean, O-line, okay. But there's something that this team can be so much better offensively. Like we should think about the Bengals like we think about the Chiefs.
Yes.
Like we think about the Chiefs like this offense that nobody can stop. But the Bengals, you may or may not think like that, but they don't produce it on a regular basis. Now, the defensive side of the Bengals is playing. Take care, Q.
Yeah, all right, man.
The defensive side for the Bengals, in my opinion, has been either overachieving if you haven't been high on them, but they have been playing really good. I feel like what the defense has been able to do is what you want the offense to do on a consistent basis. Hopefully, I'm explaining myself right there, but there's something. To be honest, I cannot even tell you what it is. Like I've been trying to think about what is it. Again, not personnel, but there's something. What is it? I don't know. Could be just the O-line. Could be as easy as like, oh, if you have a better O-line, we can just be this best offense in the league. Whatever it is, I'm not sure, but that is. Again, I think the Bengals had the better team. Better. Like I said, the AFC was the better conference, and the AFC should have won the Super Bowl, but shoulda, coulda, woulda. They didn't. It sucks. But for the people that say Bengals can't, there's statistically a thing about the Super Bowl hangover for teams that lose the Super Bowl. The Chiefs kind of broke that mold. Although again, we think about the Chiefs as this power super team, and they haven't been able to win a second one. But I think the Bengals are young, and I think Ace was the one that sent me the video the moment that everything changed for Burrow against Cincinnati. Was it against Cincinnati? I guess somebody, some off school, UCF, that he got sacked or whatever it was, and the guy was haunting him. And then I wouldn't poke the bear. This can fuel the kid, right? And he's a great quarterback. So yeah, I mean,
it is nice though, like as an AFC North fan, to know that like Joe Burrow was human in this game. Yeah, it's like thank goodness. Oh right, okay, good. He's not like the second coming of Tom Brady. Okay, good. Well, okay, well at least he's a little human. That's good. We'll see.
Hey, we have 3 super chats, and then Ace, I'm gonna throw it to you. Would it be a hot take to say Joe Burrow is not the best QB in the AFC? No, we're gonna have a show just on that, Professor Chaos. I don't want to derail this show for an hour. Ben here says, yeah. Next year's schedule is tough. The AFC North plus KC is acting like an imminent about to be out in a year training. Did I write that wrong?
No, I think acting like an inmate about to be out in a year training.
That's what it was. That's the word that I read wrong. Thank you, Ace.
Mm-hmm.
And Bro here says, if you guys were to be ranked AFC North wide receiver, isn't Chase 1? And Higgins too? Probably, right?
Oh, that's right. Okay, I appreciate you sending that in. Now I'm going to spend the next. When do we do those? We do those in July, right? So I got 5 months to figure out how I'm going to put Deontay over T. Higgins. Okay, yeah, I appreciate you letting me know because it's going to be hard, but I got 5 months to work that out.
Yeah,
so.
and Ben, just go to the YouTube channel. I got the whole thing. It's like a third way in. Okay. Thank you, and thank you for the people that are tagging us for the quotes, Diddy and company. Okay, Ace, you were
I was.
By the way, shout out to Ace. He made the trip out to LA.
Yeah, man, it was surreal. Like going to LA. The one thing that I came away with was I was proud of how many fans showed up, because a lot of people. Because the Bengals have not had any success, a lot of people kind of assumed, Bengals don't have any fans. There's no way that they're going to come out to LA. The tickets are expensive and this and that. And immediately when I got to LA, I was thinking, I was like, there's a chance that we could be the majority of this game because most people that are from LA are not Rams fans. Like
They don't care.
most of them are 49ers fans or they're Raiders fans. They're not really, Rams fans. So shout out to all of the new Rams fans, but really the old Rams fans as well, the ones that were with them when they were the St. Louis Rams. So hats off to you guys. Definitely have to congratulate the Rams on that Super Bowl win. But heading out to LA, the experience was surreal. Just seeing the Bengals logo on SoFi Stadium while grabbing some In-N-Out Burger was insane. And being in In-N-Out Burger, and I'm looking around and I see Tyler Boyd's mom in there with his daughter, and just Bengals fans just coming in every 5 seconds through that door saying who they, and people from LA that were like Rams fans being outnumbered and looking like what the hell is going on was a crazy experience that I don't think I'll ever forget as far as that. And then, I've always dreamed about going to a Super Bowl and for it to be my team in the Super Bowl and to attend that and to go to the Super Bowl experience and see how crazy it was. Like, I would recommend even if you don't go to the Super Bowl, if you do fly into town and you have kids or you're just a huge fan of football, definitely stop by the Super Bowl experience because it's super dope. You never know who's going to be walking around. Like me and Zim are walking around, and all of a sudden there's like Derwin James and like Darren Waller just pull up out of nowhere. Like they weren't listed as guests or anything, and they're participating in stuff. We run into TJ Houshmandzadeh, talk to him. Like there's players, Elijah Moore, like is just at the table. Jerry Rice, like anybody you could think of is just really out there, just like walking around. So that was a hell of an experience. And then we get to the game and we got there early essentially. And we ended up finding our way down to the suite level. So we were actually able to get extremely close to the field. And players from the Bengals saw us, coaches saw us. I'm walking around. I freaking run into Bill Hilmer is like right there. Gary Owens like right there coming down in his Bengals robe. And then we start to move around because we try to meet up with like Chase and his not Chase himself, but like his parents and Joe Burrow's parents. And as we're on the way to do that, Chris Tucker, like right in front of us, taking pictures with everyone. Nice. So we got to it was Hollywood, right? Like the stars were out. It was a different kind of vibe a little bit. And then we're walking by, and then LeBron is just like right there. It was insane. We walked by Drake and didn't even realize it. Like that's how insane it was. But the craziest thing that happened, I think, was we were talking about Mike Hilton. We're talking to Joe Burrow's dad, and a guy spots me, and he's like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Who is this guy?" And he was like, "Man, I love you guys. I'm Mike Hilton Sr." And he was like, "I love you and Zim and what you guys do." And that was just a surreal moment for me because there were people that were celebrities and they had children that were Bengals fans that knew me and Zim. So it kind of made it seem like we were supposed to be there, which I don't think I was really ready for that. It was insane living in that moment. But to get back to my seat and get ready for the game, and I'm watching it, and the whole time I'm just thinking like, man, Aaron Donald, we have to figure out a way to stop him. OBJ was a guy that I talked about too. I was like, man, OBJ is going to be juiced up, ready to play in this game. And when this game started off, I think that there's no way, like everything that I kind of figured that would go into a way that the Bengals could win kind of happened in this game. Getting Matt Stafford to give you turnovers was something that I was like, if you can force Matt Stafford to give you 1, maybe 2 interceptions, that's going to bode well for you, right? If you could limit their run, which I knew we were going to do because we've been a top 5 run defense this entire season. I'm like, there's no way that Cam Akers is coming off of a torn Achilles and is going to run it up on this defense. And so I knew that we had to stop them from the Cooper Kupp standpoint and the OBJ standpoint and force Stafford into some turnovers, play some good defense. And a lot of people they never really talk about the Bengals defense. Throughout the whole stretch of the playoffs and everything, no one ever talked about the Bengals defense. And essentially, they did a good job, I think, on the offensive line to start the game. It's crazy because I'm sitting there like they're really doing this. Like in the first half, they didn't give up a sack until I think the last minute of the second quarter. Like that's when they gave up the first sack. The thing that I was upset about before the game even started, though, was they kind of made this kind of comment where they hinted at Jackson Carman being the starter, right? And if you don't know, Hakeem Adeniji, as Jackson Carman was benched for Hakeem Adeniji, Riley Reef got hurt, and they were like, okay, well, Jackson Carman, we need to get Hakeem Adeniji in there, right? And it hasn't gone well. It never really went well. He ended up kind of giving up sacks and stuff like that. And he was one of the guys that was on the line in that Titans game, right? And in the Titans game, per PFF, he gave up 3 sacks. And there weren't many linemen that really gave up many more sacks after that, because you also have to account for running backs giving up sacks, Joe holding the ball too long. But he was kind of a weak point in that game. And then they went into the Chiefs game, and what they did was they split the snaps between Carman and Hakeem Adeniji, and the line was more formidable in that situation. So all signs pointed to, hey, maybe we should put Jackson Carman in this game, because Jackson Carman was the guy that kind of sprung Samaje Perine in the previous game. And so I came into this game thinking Jackson Carman's a starter. I actually ended up flying to the game and spoke with a high school coach, and he talked about how it was night and day, the difference between the upper body strength of Adeniji and the upper body strength of Carman. And when we came out and Adeniji was starting that game, and I didn't see Carman get in, I'm just like, okay, now what are they doing here? But it was working, right? They only gave up the 1 sack. And so we get the ball after the half, and the whole time I'm sitting like, okay, we got them right where we want them, because we did get a lucky break with OBJ getting hurt and going out of the game. I'm like, all right, they're going to have to adjust to that in game. And so I'm like, all right, we're a second half team. We're going to come out and do something. And I honestly had the craziest Twitter experience of my life throughout this game, because I was calling shots before they happened. The Chase deep bomb, I was saying they're about to go deep to Uno. It ended up happening. I said that Stafford was going to throw a pick. Like, everything that I was saying was happening before it happened. They come out in the second half, and they get the T. Higgins thing going. And then as soon as this defensive pass rush for the Rams starts to get going, it just completely destroyed our drives. Like, as soon as, like, there's one play, and I think it's one of the first sacks, where Aaron Donald just straight up bull rushes Hakeem Adeniji all the way back. And the whole time I'm just yelling in the stands, put in Carman. Like, it's a big difference between those two when you have them in the game. And it hurt me even more after the game to see that when you look at this, when they gave up 7 sacks, right? 3 of them were on Hakeem Adeniji. And a lot of them were on those drives at the end of the game where the Bengals needed the points to be able to do something and close the game out.
Interrupt you. Did they explain why they went with him?
They didn't, and they've been vague on it, and it makes me think that it's either there's something there, back injury. I don't want to speak on it. I don't know what it is, but it's something weird going on with why they're not putting Carman out there. And I hate to put it on. It's not. Now, don't take this as me saying that it's all on Hakeem Adeniji and the offensive line, because in my opinion, that's on the coaches. Even if you were to split the reps like you did the last game between those two guys, especially when you're going up against Aaron Donald, that makes more sense. But in the second half, they kind of stopped doing the whole double team thing on Aaron Donald, and that didn't make sense either. You can't let Aaron Donald have single coverage against this offensive line. And I think when they did that, it got out of control. But there were other things that happened in this game too. It's not just on Adeniji and the offensive line. Like Tony said earlier, I was watching the game, and hold on one second. I actually have to get ready to head out. But essentially, Joe Burrow did have some bad passes. He missed Chase on a few passes, missed T. Higgins open in the flat. There were so many other things that happened in the game, not having Joe Mixon on the field at the time. Going 4th and 1 and you go empty, that was the dumbest thing that I feel like I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And, it is what it is. I'm proud of the team. They were able to get there. They fought. They left it all out on the field. They still had a chance to win the game despite all of the calls or whatever that's happened. But I think that the Bengals have the team and they know what it takes to get there, and they'll be back. I can't say that they'll be back immediately next season, but within the next 3 to 5 seasons, I think that they'll be back and they'll be ready and they'll know what it takes to get there. But guys, I have to take off. You guys take it easy. All right.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Take care, man.
Yep.
Okay, so we have a couple of super chats, and then we'll close it out.
Yeah, we can close this. We can wrap this thing up.
Fabio Sear says, if you're the Bengals, what is the best / perfect way this offseason plays out for them in terms of picks, trades, and signing? I will say this. They should. What happened to the team that lost the Super Bowl last year?
I was going to say the Chiefs mold is the way, but they got so lucky. But I mean, that is the mold. Yeah.
They got lucky. But think about the Bengals. Their secondary, I think they have guys that overachieve, right? Like Eli Apple play his best season.
Yes.
By far, right? The defensive line, I think, is going to be good. As I don't think those guys overachieve necessarily. I think they play and I love Logan Wilson coming out of college. So I think he's a great linebacker. And offensively, you have all the tools minus the O-line. So the question is, I don't even know what O-line's out there this year. But whoever is out there that is good, don't be just signing for signing.
Yeah.
You get that. And then if you need to trade and give up, I don't know, first round pick for established O-line, for example, let's say
Orlando Brown, just like the Chiefs did. Yeah, I mean,
well, I was gonna let's say the Colts are like, you know what, we're gonna rebuild, right? Because we don't have Wentz, we don't have a quarterback, and then Nelson's out there.
Yeah.
And they're saying, we'll take a first and a third for Nelson. You give a first and a third for Nelson, and you're done. Then you have a guard, right? That's my point. They can just go and say, we're going to spend whatever we need to spend in the O-line because that's by far our weakest point. And then we're going to go with that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think, the Chiefs set the tone right last year, right? Just they trade a couple, a first and a second or something like that, or whatever the combination was, in order to get Orlando Brown. And then they got Creed Humphrey in the second round, who ends up being like a great center. And they got Trey Smith in the sixth round, right? I mean, like if the Bengals can have – yeah, if the Bengals can have they
paid Tooney too, right? They paid
they paid Tooney, yeah. So I mean, if the Bengals can have even half the offseason that the Chiefs had, I mean, the Chiefs got so lucky because again, how often does a guy like Orlando Brown get mad at his team and go, "I don't want to play right tackle anymore. I'm a left tackle, so you have to trade me." Right? I mean, like that's
a sixth round too, because that's a legit starter.
Yeah, exactly. One. Right, and then a second round pick. Who I mean, look, you get second round pick starters, but second round pick who was like great, not just good, great.
Yeah, I like Creed. I like both Creed and the guy from Bama.
Landon Dickerson. Landon Dickerson, just had those knee injuries.
Yeah.
So like the Bengals need to draft a couple guys, and they certainly need a free agent. And that's kind of I think your starting point.
Yeah. You want to know who's better QB? Just switch O-line. Who do you think does better, Joe Burrow or
Matt Stafford? Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think Joe Burrow right now is he's on pace certainly to be a better quarterback than Stafford, but I think Stafford was better on the day.
Fair. Seagrave Sayer says, once the O-line is fixed, not only the Bengals passing game be more potent, you will see Joe Mixon thrive more as well. I will say this: the only problem for you to take a year or two fixing this O-line, meaning more than a year, right? I think number one should be pay at all costs, fix this O-line, because Joe Burrow had a scare after this game, right? MCL sprain.
Right.
Could it be easily a tear, right? I mean, it's not far from one to the other. And you as a Bengals fan and you as an organization don't want that to happen. He took too many shots this year. We talk about it in the offseason. You need to fix that at all costs. Nothing is more important than fixing that O-line. If you're a Bengals fan, I'll pay whatever it needs. I'll trade whoever I need to trade. Not players, but meaning picks. Do I need to take this year's first and next year's first because there's a tackle on the top 5 pick? It's a short thing. I'm going to trade those 2 first round. Got to go there, get my tackle. My point is whatever it takes you do, because Joe Burrow's health for future is in jeopardy if you don't fix this O-line.
Right.
Bruce here says injuries will be the only factor playing into us not doing well. The North is still wide open for the Bengals, but only for the next few years. Yeah, and again, health is something that it's almost luck.
Right? I don't agree with that take though. I don't look. and this is not going to be a popular thing to say, and I'm going to pay for it throughout the entire offseason. But I do think that there is a possibility here, and I've talked about it throughout the season. There's a possibility of regression, right? Of like offensive regression. I know we think about like, that it's the magnification of this where we go, oh, well, player X is good this year. He can only get better next year, right? He can only get better. Oh, Ace is back. He can only get better. That's not necessarily the case. I mean, again, I'm not saying that Joe Burrow is going to turn into a bad player, right? But again, it is possible. Look at Pat Mahomes, right, over his time. Pat Mahomes had an MVP caliber year 2 years ago. And then this year, again, we had a discussion earlier this year. Has the NFL figured out, right? The same thing with Lamar Jackson. Has the NFL figured out Lamar? There are ebbs and flows to guys' career. I'm not saying Burrow's going to be bad, but the idea that this offense is just only going to get better from here. I'm gonna hesitate on that for a second.
Well, that's the trend.
Well, I will push back on that, Tony, because I don't think that this offense was as consistent as they really should have been or lived up to the way that they should have performed. And so I think if you give them a better offensive line, I think that they can do a lot more and be a lot more explosive, especially after those 6 possessions of them punting. And that's not something that's new for us, right? Like you kind of talked about that with the inconsistencies with that offense at the beginning of the season. And I kind of feel like a lot of people don't want to say this, but the defense has kind of outplayed the offense this season. Like they've done some amazing things, but as a unit, I would probably say the defense has outplayed the offense. And I don't think anyone saw that coming before the season, me included, as far as the defensive unit outplaying the offense. So I do think they have room for improvement, but you are right. Like some people are going to figure out things to do against Jamar Chase, things to do against Joe Burrow. But I do think if they do get a better offensive line, and this is like the 5th year in a row that I'm saying this, that I think that they can go to a potential different level.
Yeah, no, this offense, I mean, I'll agree with that. This offense can be much better than it was this year because, again, I don't think this offense was particularly good at times. I don't think it was particularly good on Sunday. They kind of, look, this is an offense on Sunday that lived off of the big play, just like they had done all year, right? They lived off the big play, but they had no consistency. They got the big play to Chase down the sideline, the 43-yarder, kicked the field goal. They got the 75-yard touchdown to Higgins, and then they had an interception, and they couldn't move the football on that drive, ended up kicking a field goal. Right? I mean, and then they had the one touchdown drive, the actual drive itself. This offense has this offense can definitely get better. My only worry, though, again, when I talk about regression is, I think that there's certainly regression in the explosiveness, right? Their ability to win one-on-one down the field this year was, not to say unprecedented, but it was spectacular. And if that regressed a little bit, you're going to rely on more of that consistency. And so what that means is, well, you may not see a team like an offense that gets worse. What you may see is a team that is kind of, it feels a little more stagnant. The numbers, this not a 35 points per game type of offense. That this stays around, the 25 to, points per game that they average, I think, this year, because the number of explosive plays goes down, but the consistency is a little better.
Yep. So we have a super chat here. Rodi says the other 3 AFC North teams, one Baker, Mayfield, and Cleveland, and that is true.
That is true.
I will say this, Bengals fans, you have a great team. Again, my main thing with the Bengals is get that O-line fixed at all costs. The Chiefs did it, and you have to find the same mold. Yeah. We have to just do whatever you need to just to get that. Just not only for win more games, it's also for Joe Burrow's longevity, right? Just some pure longevity for him as well. With that, I will say this, guys. We are taking a break. We always do this after the Super Bowl. We're coming the first week of March. March, what was it, Tony says?
March 7th, I think, is what we're going to be.
Yeah, 7 or 8 that week. That week at some point, we're coming back pre-free agency. We're going to be talking free agency. We're going to revisit some of the hot takes that we were going to do today, but obviously we didn't. Also, we have been doing some stuff on Patreon. So if you want to support us, go to Patreon. We'll do stuff in the offseason for Patreon. So go follow us or go subscribe that if you want to support the show a little more. One late super chat, and with this we go. Do you think a better offensive line opens up the playbook more as a result to throw off a lot of defenses? Might bring a new
MO.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tony.
I was just gonna say this is one thing that kind of opened my eyes when I watched, and I'm only like an hour in. Coach Voss has his YouTube channel is spectacular if you want to learn defense and how defenses can be attacked. He was really critical of the play design of the Cincinnati Bengals. And he keeps talking. I mean, I'm only an hour in, but he keeps talking about, like, who are they really attacking here? What levels are they attacking? So I think there is certainly, obviously in the Super Bowl, it was tough for Taylor because, you're not exactly designing for all three levels of the field when you are expecting Joe Burrow to get hit after, 2.5 seconds, right? I mean, his time to throw in this game, I think, was 2.4 seconds. So when you're designing plays for 2.5 seconds, it's not exactly attacking all three levels. And so, yeah, I think obviously when you have an offensive line that can give you the 3 seconds that, that most quarterbacks have in the league, or 3.5, yeah, obviously you can design things for all three levels, and you can start to attack defenses in different ways.
Yep. Any last word, Ace?
Yeah, I had a couple of things that I didn't get to say. I think with Mixon, I think that they definitely should continue to run the ball more with him. That was a mistake. He was averaging 5 yards per carry. The fact that they didn't rely on that was tough. The Tyler Boyd catch is hard for me to, like, after rewatching it, even if he catches it, the guy hits him, like, right after it, and it's hard for me to say that he just would have automatically had the first down, but that was a key moment in the game. And then I also think the defensive strategy to not really double Cooper Kupp at that point in the game was not smart to me. Like, if OBJ is out of the game, the other guys like Van Jefferson and whatever that other guy's name was, they're just going to have to beat me. Like, I'm going to bracket Cooper Kupp the entire game. So I think that I can't hate Lou, right? Because he forced 5 kind of drives where the Rams didn't do anything, but that was just kind of mind-boggling, where it was like, all right, all you have to do really is cover Cooper Kupp on this last drive, and the fact that they didn't try to double him was somewhat mind-blowing. Allowing him to get one-on-ones with linebackers and stuff like that just was kind of disappointing. So it's on the team. I think it's on Joe. There's all kind of plays that could have been made. T. Higgins, if he holds on to that first touchdown, we're talking about a different game. But overall, even outside of Adeniji, because Quentin Spain was one of the linemen that gave up that last sack, and Joe Mixon, that was
he's cutting off.
Yeah.
Another theory that I kind of had. It was a total team loss, and you win and lose as a team. So instead of pointing fingers, the Bengals have to look into this offseason, try to see what they can do to fix the offensive line. Also, just rest assured, Bengals fans, Joseph Asai's coming back. Hopefully Larry Ogunjobi. Hopefully Akeem Davis-Gaither. Hopefully they get Jesse Bates locked up. So there's a lot to actually look forward to with this team, because all other 32 teams with players saw what the Bengals did. They see what we have built in there, and that's going to be something that will attract free agents to Cincinnati.
Yep. And then one last super chat says, no, you haven't looked at free agents Xavier Howard. I would say this: the Ravens.
Xavier Howard's a free agent?
Yeah, the Ravens tried to trade for him last year, before the trade deadline. So
why do the Ravens need a cornerback? They're not allowed. They're just simply
last
not
year,
allowed.
When we were having injuries, they were trying to trade.
Oh yeah, well that makes sense. But I'm just saying right now, no.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Wait,
Thank you for that off stream. Yeah, he's a free agent.
I don't see him on the list.
I'm pretty sure he was a free agent.
No, he's under contract. He's under
is?
contract. Yeah, he's under contract.
Well,
okay, because I was gonna say this is about to be the greatest. J.C. Jackson is a free agent too. I mean, this is about to be the greatest, and it's a great corner class. I mean, you get a corner, you get it. Maybe the Bengals can, or the Ravens can have a corner out of this class because it's that good.
Okay, guys, again, thank you for joining us. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the support. Thank you for a great year. We're gonna take our break of the year. We take 2 breaks, one in March and one before the season. One in February. So you see us around March 7th or 8th. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, because we will announce it on Twitter. Make sure you obviously subscribe so you can see when we come back live. Hit that bell. Go ahead, Tony.
I just want to say one last thing. Been listening to a lot of Dashboard Confessional this week, and you know why? Remember when I said the Bengals would eventually turn into a pumpkin?